Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome in. What the Christ on a bicycle's going on here? Why has it put me into the realm selector? Hello? Hello? Can do a quick few bits and bobs and remix this morning. Just because I want to get a few things done. Then we're going to jump into the alpha. I want to get back into the alpha a little bit. It's been too long. I've been given this luxurious advantage of being able to poke around in the alpha, and we've spent 2 weeks of the 3 weeks of alpha not looking at it. Remix is here for a while. It's not going anywhere, so we're going to switch our focus to the alpha, but I do want to get a few basics done in Remix this morning. Keep my character ticking over. But hope everybody is well. I've been tweaking around with some settings in OBS, so I really hope I haven't broken anything. I'm planning, preparing for a little test into vertical streaming as well for those mobile viewers out there. I've been given access to Twitch's vertical beta, which basically means that if you're watching on mobile, you can get a portrait version of the stream, but it requires me to do a bunch of tinkering to get that set up. So I've been getting the basics down, but I didn't get it finished, so that's probably a fun thing to explore over the next couple of days. Right. I have the need to do the Nighthold again. I'm thinking the plan of action here is pretty simple. The plan of action is simple. We path ourselves back to wherever the hell home is. I'm probably only going to try and do the raids on Mythic on a daily basis now. The fact that we've got 3 different raids, there's 20 bosses that can be killed on Mythic. Sure, doing them on Heroic and on Normal as well will grant more rewards, but if I'm limited on time, which I am going to be a little bit now if I want to split myself between Remix and Alpha, maybe just focusing on doing the Mythic raids a day is a good way to keep the character ticking over. Why do you have a quest for me?
What is history?
What do you want? Suramar liberated? What the hell is this?
Observe all that
Take Moriarty, talk to Moriarty and answer her question.
Never settle for the unknown.
What happened with Suramar and its rebellion? What can we learn from their story? I don't know, whatever.
Our endeavor goes on.
Okay. Knowing how you decide on a course of action will inform further hypothesis. It fucking won't. It won't. Normal is a skip for your level of gear. Heroic is nice, but time consuming. Yeah, it's I've got absolutely no need to be doing normal or heroic, really. At least on this character, anyway. Absolutely no need. Fully gear capped, doing nothing more than just grinding out limits unbound. It would be nice to get like above 200 of this, just so then I've hit the diminishing returns cap on you know, damage reduction. There seems to be nobody seems to have really figured this out, and I've not seen any source of this that really sort of nails down exactly how it works. But there seems to be, even though they said they removed all of the caps for secondaries, there seems to be a damage taken cap of like 99%. You can never reduce the damage by more than 99%. But of course, in Mythic Plus dungeons, where the natural damage that a mob does is multiplied by the key level to some degree, up to like silly numbers. your 99% reduction is great, but that does still mean that you will still take more and more damage as you go into the higher and higher keys. Hard to test since you can't lower your verse after you go 200 plus. Well, you can take points out of here. You just right click to take points away. And then left click to add them back again. You can absolutely take points away. Day 2 of the Nighthole being released, and it's already a walking simulator on all difficulties, it feels like. Well, yeah, I knew full well that the phasing of the phasing of Remix was very fraudulent. There was no justification to phasing it. You know, a Suramar questline and the raid being accessible was literally all that came with Phase 2, which is why it's, you know, it's an afternoon's work. If you'd played a whole bunch in Phase 1 and were already geared, like, well, I mean, we did it yesterday. Like, Mythic Nighthold felt easier than Heroic. But because Gul'dan, we just absolutely nuked him in Mythic, yet he, you know, almost actually had mechanics in Heroic, which was weird. Kind of odd, I'm not gonna lie. Go on, Sensi, with your stream streak, by the way. Good effort with that, hope you're doing well. We also wiped in Heroic. Yeah, true. There was the one-shot mechanic on the second boss, wasn't there? None of that business in Mythic. Just blast it. Just absolutely blast it. But I've come back here because my gear is 7 levels of cooked. We need to fix this. What's the lag like in Suramar? It was acceptable yesterday. That said, it is still definitely a thing. The lag is definitely a thing still. Pretty much any ring, necklace, anything of that nature can just get burnt now. Because I've got one of everything in the bank. I deliberately put one of everything in the bank so then all jewellery could just get deleted. I'm just double checking right now just to make sure, but nothing slipped through the net. I'm pretty sure I've got one of everything at 740 in the bank now. One in the bags, one equipped. Maybe I don't have a bonus one of those. Does not say I've got one of those in the bank. How are we doing, Chris? Welcome in. Good morning. I also have a surprisingly large list of quests to do for some reason. I'm not quite sure why that's the case. Right, that should be one of everything. Oh, actually, this Chain of the Underking needs a better version. That's the only one I don't have at 740 by the looks of things. That slipped through.
Light bless you.
I have many lucky doos. You like?
There's so much random little bits of rubbish that I really don't need in the bags here. All this rubbish, get out of here. Why am I getting all of these crafting materials from? Random ass recipes, I definitely don't want these. 30 slot reagent bag, go away. Fell meteorites, I don't need more than a stack of them. I actually don't really use these at all.
Good fortune to our friends.
Don't know what half of this is. All random stuff that's been given via quests that is not needed. Oh, those are useful. Priceless silk. Not that priceless. These we can trade in. I did give Blizz some feedback yesterday saying please, please, please make moats warbound. So we'll see how that goes. see if anybody at Blizzard HQ agrees with me. You remember to update add-ons today? Yeah, I did. I updated the add-ons. I think it was actually Details that just had a heart attack when people did like billions of damage and it didn't know what to do.
Speak.
Actually, how do I get Cosmic Soul Silvers? Antorus? Oh, both of those come from Antorus, so there's no new collectible item from the Nighthold, apparently. Okay.
Do not share what I have said.
Turbo Boost did nothing for the prices on retail. Yeah, I don't expect it will. I don't expect it will, honestly. Sorry for the rings and legs incident last night. Oh, that was quite funny. Because I tried messaging you back when you were going off on one. And you weren't listening. I was like, you do not mean to be telling me this. Do you still want the ring? No, I never wanted the ring in the first place. Okay, that made me giggle. Right, okay. Yeah, I might just bang out the raids. I was in a rush, I could tell. Customer service was top tier. Just the wrong customer. I can't imagine there's going to be a huge amount of people here this early that want to come do the raids, but I'm going to set up the raid anyway. Start a group. We'll go Emerald Nightmare, Mythic. Only visible to friends and guildmates of people in the group. It's a cheeky way, isn't it, to make everybody put their characters in the guild. But that would have been a smart thing to do on day one of Remix. Probably not worth doing now. You want to come do Emerald Nightmare on Mythic, hop in. Standard practice like Frog or Gold or something. Put some sort of password that makes it obvious you're in the stream. Right, let's get down to the Emerald Nightmare.
Can I assist you?
It's up here somewhere, isn't it? We'll just bounce from one to another to another. We'll go from Emerald Nightmare to Trial of Valor to Nighthold. We'll just bang them all out. Get them done on Mythic. Golden Frog Murloc, that's the way we do it. That's what we're saying. 563, that's going to be the biggest carry in history, but sure, why the hell not? Ow, fucking hang on. Convert to raid. Raid difficulty mythic. Let's not give the game any chances to delete my flipping group every time. Emerald Nightmare mythic. Go. This flipping group finder having a heart attack after you invite 3 people is really annoying. I could come feeling marginally better today. Do it! Do it! Get in. Do it. I didn't deliberately decline anyone. The flipping group finder's been a dick. Are you in stream? Let me give it a minute to allow people on stream the opportunity to get in.
Let's make sweet, sweet profit together.
Normally I time these so that everybody can be ready, but I'm just banging out them as quick as I can this morning to just get them done, you know? Bazonga. The names in here. Need a couple of 740s to pad the numbers. Where's the actual raid gone?
Is that your
This
wallet?
way somewhere.
Are you just glad to see me?
Shadowfen.
Both, I
Thank
hope.
goodness the survivors fled to safety. If you could recover
Lazy day, Kahani. Thank you very much for the subs this morning. I appreciate that, boys and girls. Thank you, thank you.
Kindness.
44 months as well, by the way, Kahani. That's crazy. And Lazy Daisy, 3 months in a row. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you. Let's get in here. Right, we're nearly half full. Nearly half full. Anything that looks like frog or gold or something. Or do we just get some people in? Do we just get some people in? Druids for days this morning. Gucci. Inviting groups is problematic because groups kill the group. Who have we got in here so far? We need a couple of people that are like absolutely giga geared. Let's assume that you are. Right, is that 10 people? We're half full. Converting Remix over to retail works now. Item level is 655 and you keep your gold and fell meteorites. Oh, do you really? I think I've acquired 33,000 gold, so I'm not overly bothered by the amount of gold. Not overly bothered. 2 Mega Bonk, yes. Mega Bonky could be finish. Have we got enough people in here just to nuke the things yet? Don't know the item level of some of the people here. I'm just wondering if I can do a solid and invite a few lower people. Just because it's nice. 590? That's the carry of the century. That's tank. I'm sorry. You're not going to be tanking anything at 590. I mean, you can cut... sure, fuck it, whatever. I think we've got enough strong people to nuke it. Guys, I have a question. How do I upgrade gear past 584? A mythic raid is not the place to ask that question. That is not the place. But yes, use moats. Oh, it's not the place to ask that question. Let's get you in as well. You in as well. We're nearly full. want to spread out an even number of like geared people to carries, just because. Bring one more in. Who we got? One more. Let's see if we can get one more just absolute juicer. 740 priests. There we go. No, I don't see many priests. We'll give priests some love. Right. Get that DK from yesterday's dungeon boost. Yeah, he's soloing mythics right now. He doesn't need friends. Absolute no need for friends. We still missing somebody? Still missing one. Check everybody's here. Flipping out, how'd you do the pull count? I don't know. You can see how many times in history I've leaded a raid. I thought it was slash pull, but apparently it's not, is it? I could have swore it was slash pull. Apparently not. Can't go in, don't know why. Locked or saved? Oh, it must be locked or saved. Go. Oh, it's countdown / countdown maybe.
The dream has changed, yet I will protect it still.
/ pull 10. I tried that like 15 times and it didn't work. I don't know why.
I dreamed the dream.
It's not gonna matter.
Now I wake.
I'm pretty sure this one warrior's saved.
Alas, poor Night Vendor.
Or he's joined another group and that group has failed and it's locked him out. So
Only to be perverted into a gatekeeper of corruption.
it's kind of weird that there is the different lock rules for if you've joined a mythic group and it fails, then you are actually just fucked until the next day. Your lockout is for the raid, not for the boss. Don't know why they bothered to leave that in, to be honest. So healer main, I was sweating reading this change. I don't know how I feel about this. Is this the fact that they've removed interrupts off like basically all healers?
It hungers
desperate
which
to
is
see
an
its
odd
corruption.
move, in my opinion.
Its whispers seduce you.
Not that I do very much high-end content, but I still understand from the perspective of those that does that, you know, an interrupt is fundamental to a class, really, at this point in the game.
From each of these pathways,
Though that said, if we, you know, they're Blizzard's
and know that I will stand with you.
design philosophy of, if their design philosophy of making everything easier because they're removing add-ons, maybe there'll be less shit that needs interrupting. Maybe there'll just be like one big important thing that does need interrupting. Maybe Blizzard have decided that that's not necessarily the responsibility of the healers. Maybe the DPS can handle that. Maybe the tanks can handle that. Let the healers focus on healing. I don't know. It's a bit difficult because everybody is quite rightly going to use their understanding of the game today to judge their, or to you know, to balance their opinion on these changes. But what we don't know is just how the game is going to play and feel, because it does feel like we're going through a bit of a transition with this getting rid of add-ons and all of that sort of stuff. My pet's in fucking Africa. Stupid crab is getting me locked up. It's always clear to tell the randoms in the group from the people in the stream. It's often very, very easy to tell. Simple courtesies of let's just get everybody to the boss. You die on the trash on the way there, well, then it just means we have more time, you know, we have to spend more time summoning people. Not a problem. Let's get people here. Be courteous. Still missing one. Who pulled?
Now I'll feed your bones to the storm crows.
That fucking priest. If this wasn't mythic, I'd start slapping banhammers about. The problem is with these Zerg runs, is if you get caught, if you get left behind, then you're just scuffed. People want to loot each of the bosses because loot going to the mailbox is not reliable. People are here for the same reason. They want their mementos, they want their shit, they want their loot. Fucking wait for people. I shouldn't have started raid leading a raid for randoms pre-coffee, should I? That's never gonna work well.
During my long slumber, it was here I communed with the green dragonfly. Now, the sacred place has been made into a conduit for the nightmare to spread its corruption. This we cannot allow.
Not, no. Right, everybody's here. Everybody's here.
The strands of life have been severed. The dreamers must be avenged.
First hit, penance from the priest again.
At last, the long dream comes.
Oh, Yasandra.
I'm gonna bite my tongue.
How cruel.
I'm gonna bite my tongue. I'm not gonna be a flipping screamy, shouty raid leader. As long as everybody is at the boss, I won't lose my temper. That's why I don't do this shit in retail. It's bad in Remix, but this is absolutely why I don't do this shit in retail. I know I'd be an absolute terror of a raid leader.
What manner of foul creature is this?
I ask for one thing and one thing only. Simple rules that are followed.
The spirit of the Tauren people must
I'm not asking for the moon on a stick. Get people to the bosses before we pull the bosses.
Betrayers, liars, murderers. Has Hermoon sent his lapdog to fetch his knife from my back?
My first words in this raid were that we have some pumpers and we have some carries, so please wait for everybody.
Grown so used to slaughter that my cries of agony are long forgotten. I recall my final moments, surrounded by those I had trusted. Your satisfied sneers
Right,
as
we're all
I
here,
drew
go.
my last breath. I'll adorn my web with your bones. Such juicy morsels.
I can safely say I'm probably not going to carry this group forward into Trial of Valor. I will disband this group and I'll make a new one. And I think I might do that for all 3 of the raids. Seems like a safer play.
What horror
For sanity
is
reasons, if nothing else.
tumor of nightmare infecting a world tree, here in the reflection of the Titan's own playground. If this seed takes hold, the root
Apparently
of
they
its
finally
infestation will
fixed
wind
the,
its way into the heart of Azeroth,
the eyeball boss.
our world.
The eyeball
Claiming
boss, the blobs
everyone.
are immune
This
until
must
they're
not
within
come
range
to
of the
pass.
eyeball now. Which was a very needed change.
Come, little ones. Savor your fear as we feast upon it. At last, the feeding hour.
So apparently here, you don't necessarily need to stack. Because the blobs are basically, or they can only take damage once they're within range or something. There was some change to it. On Mythic I am going to stand back though, because these are... Oh, maybe that's, maybe not on Mythic. Maybe on Mythic you do need to still follow the rules. Maybe that was only on lower level difficulties. Or maybe LFR actually, because that was fucking terrible on it. This boss on LFR, probably the worst boss. Oh no, look, they won't go boom until they're within range, look. They only needed to change it because people are dumb. This isn't a game mode where people need to be worrying about mechanics. It's really not. It's entirely designed so that DPS and, you know, damage mitigation are and should be the checks, I think.
Behold,
I have no sound in the game, but the ping system kills me. You can still hear it. Well, the ping system goes out on a different audio channel. You can tell it to go. I don't know if you can do this through the default UI, but there's probably add-ons out there that will allow you to reroute the ping audio through like the game effects channel, which means you can then mute it if you want. There's like 3 or 4 separate audio channels that WoW uses, I think. I can't remember the exacts of it, but there is a way around it. Pings are a fantastic addition to the game, though. Yeah, I really do think, especially for pickup group stuff, which is what PUG stands for, by the way. I've said that a few times, and people are like, what? Never known what PUG stands for. Yeah, pickup group. Random pickup of people. Yeah, for groups where there isn't an external Discord or something like that on the go, then yeah, the ping system is actually fantastic.
Hold your weapons. He begins to see the truth.
Cannot loot because all the trash is not dead yet.
Father, is that you?
Yeah, where's the puppy? Got one upside down next to me. Oh, okay. Everybody's chilling. Everybody's asleep. Oh, I've just had an absolutely incredible idea. I've had the best idea I think I've ever had in my life ever. I can set up a vertical canvas and it can just be puppy cam. Oh my god, that's the cleverest idea I've ever come up with in my life.
It is done. Cenarius is
That puppy cam can be a permanent vertical canvas. So if you watch on mobile, horizontally you get the normal stream. You turn your phone vertically, you get puppy cam. Oh, that's the cleverest move I think I've ever made in my life. That's genius.
To this place I cannot go.
I mean, or you can spend some coffee beans and turn coffee, you know, puppy cam on. Oh, that's the cleverest thing how do I turn my monitor? Well, that's the desktop users. You'll have coffee beans for puppy cam, and puppy cam activations will still make the mainstream showing puppy cam. But I can make a vertical. Oh, that's the cleverest thing I've ever thought of in my life.
Only this way can the dream be restored, and Azeroth be
I'm going to try that tomorrow.
We must put an end to the nightmare. Say the word, and I will take us into the heart of that twisted place.
The nightmare has corrupted dragons, gods, and legends. Your
Embrace the dreaming, champions. It can save you.
No, I will
Embrace the dreaming, champions. It can save you.
No, I will not. My work left unfinished.
Boom.
Heroes, champions, step forth and hear me. The nightmare
out of
has
here.
long been a cancer eager to consume the Emerald Dream.
So on mobile, it will just be puppy cam
Xavier
since the vertical
succeeded.
canvas gets
His
served.
corruption
Exactly.
overwhelmed Azeroth, giving rise to a living nightmare.
Exactly. Thanks for having me. Give the puppy some hugs. Have a nice day. I appreciate it. We're off to Trial of Valor, and we will also then do the Nighthold thereafter. Welcome to joining those ones as well. Right, start a group. Trial of Valor, Mythic, monthly stream. Go. Are we still on Mythic? Yes.
Greetings. Be careful.
Right, let's get some people in. 590 Tank, you were with us a minute ago. Rahi, you were with us a minute ago. Let's get Battle.net friends in Cryo. Mind if I tag along with my druid? Sign up! Sign up! Gold. Golden Frog Murlocs. Yes. Welcome in. On the stream. Welcome, welcomes. 590. Come as a healer. What's that? 12. Room for 8 more. Room for 8 more for Trial of Valor run. 617. Under low, I'll give it a minute. Need to make sure we get some big damn in this. We need some big damn for the final boss. Big damage. Need some 740 damage. View of. Just to make sure it goes smooth. Before we take too many carries. Pigeons.
There are those among the Valkyria who wish to test you in single combat. Go to Skolda's shield and face them in battle. None shall attack until you strike the first blow.
Let's get up to the boss and then we'll pad the rest of the group
Test
out.
the mettle of these mortals. I must be certain they possess the courage and skill needed for what
Right, what have
is
we got?
to come.
Anybody here that... There we go, there's the druid, and you come.
Shall we be lenient with these pets of yours, Odin? Hold nothing back. I must know they are ready for the
Hi,
task
woman.
ahead.
What a fucking name.
So be it. The unworthy shall be
We got...
purged
Okay,
from
we
the
need a
halls
couple
of
more
valor.
people who are just, like, stacked.
The battle is yours to begin, heroes.
I can get maybe 2 more people that are, like, properly stacked to help carry. Then we can invite basically anybody. 728 druid is going to be helpful. Like I said, if you're in the stream, there's if you're in the stream, there's no questions. You can come. Just when it comes to picking up randoms, need to make sure we're well padded first. How many spots we got? 5 more spots left. Flipping, it's a druid party. Oh my god, absolute druid party. There we go. There's a nice 740. That'll help carry. Another 740. Right. We can fill the remaining spots with basically carries. Oh, your Battle.net. In you come. Feel free to add me on Battle.net, by the way. That way you get priority in for while I've still got spots on the list. Oh, his Streamlab's not alive today. Great. Of course he isn't. Let's just bring you in then. And I think that's it. Right. Nice. Mantheus hashtag 1669. Since Streamlabs isn't playing game. Are you doing raid runs from your alts or just maintaining the main for now? I'm not really sure. I'm probably only going to put like a day or two's worth of focus on Remix from this point on. What we do on those couple of days is kind of open to suggestion. If people want to do the raids, we can do the raids, that kind of thing. There's not really, I don't really have a strict regime. Doing the mythic raids on my main seems sensible. It's like a bare minimum just to make sure that my main keeps getting, you know, power, especially until I get at least 200 ranks in this. Until I'm at least at the verse cap, soft cap at least anyway. It makes sense I put some priority on the main, but yeah, the alts might get a little bit of raiding. We'll see. I'm leaving it open to suggestions. Right, okay. Ready check. Is everybody alive?
I will be the judge now.
They're going down at the same rate-ish.
Well done.
Go,
so
nice.
far. But I will judge for myself whether you are worthy.
The reality for me right now is that I really do need to get some alpha stuff done. We're in phase 4 of alpha now. A new build came out yesterday, which means we get to test being level 90. This is the first time we've been able to see how we feel at level 90. And I don't know if this build is going to come with some of like the more end gamey max level stuff with it. Next week, next build also comes with all of the final profession stuff. So I really need to switch my focus to the alpha for a little bit. But of course, Remix is here for ages still. So there's still plenty of time and room for Remix. I've given it 2 weeks of dedication. It's been a blast whilst we've done it. I'm not putting it down completely forever. It's just it's not sitting as high priority for me anymore. We will do Remix a day or two each week, as and when people want to, maybe. But there's an awful lot of people that, at the moment, would love to see some alpha stuff because there's about 10 people in the alpha. Blizzard seems to have been very restrictive on who they've invited to it this time. Have any of you guys had luck with RNGesus on getting access to the alpha? Because they do send out random invites. It's just they are very few and far between. Obviously beta, we roll into beta in a couple of weeks time, so it'll you will have a deterministic way to get access to it very soon. I mean, is it the Epic Edition? Is it pre-order the Epic Edition, or is it pre-order anything? I can't remember what the restriction was for beta access.
Now onward to Helya. This day her treachery shall be ended.
Is it Epic Edition? Fun fact, I still haven't even pre-ordered Midnight. There's part of me that kind of wants housing to turn up and to trample the value of the token a little bit, which I suspect it might do. But the thing with housing is it's like, whilst I do think there'll be a lot of people buying tokens to get gold with housing, I also think at the very same time there'll be a lot of people looking to cash out their gold to buy Midnight. So, you know, it's going to be pushed from both directions. So I'm not totally sure if the token is going to really do much, but I mean, I'll buy the Epic Edition just on my credit card so that I have it. But like, I've got 5 accounts I need to get upgraded to Midnight as well. Those I will probably wait to deal with when we see a shift in the token value. Hopefully, maybe, possibly.
Your doom lurks within the fog.
Good luck on your deathless runs, by the way, boys and girls, if you're in the raid here. You're not meant to be over there. What's going on? Oh, is she bugged? Is she coming?
Your efforts are for naught, mortals.
She is. Right, go.
Never be.
Nuke it!
The cold shatter you.
Good job, boys and girls. Did we get any achieves? Ah, we got a few deathlesses in there. Nice to see. Love to see it, in fact. That said, I need to get a deathless run on the go with some of my ults, actually. Annoyingly, might need to gear up a few ults at some point. I'm not sure if I'm that bothered. Right, thank you, boys and girls. Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Victories do you bring me? Go now.
740 necessary to get all the bronze one would want for much of the rewards. You're gonna have to do something special to get 8 million bronze without getting 740. Because you get bronze at the same time as you do basically anything else. If you are out farming bronze, you'll be gaining moats, you'll be gaining item level. Like, I don't know how much bronze you need to get everything, but the grand total is 8 million, assuming you had basically nothing going into it. There's absolutely no way you'll make 8 million bronze without accidentally leveling a character to fully gear. It's just not possible. Right, should we do the Nighthold now? Nighthold, Mythic. This one I am going to be a little bit more focused on bringing you guys if I can. So I will set a strict password. Password gold for entry to this one. If you accidentally use Frog or Murloc, I'll let you off. But like, I will be taking only people that use the password for this. No randoms in this group. Unless we really struggle to fit all 20 slots. Since I suspect there's a lot more people that would like to come and do Nighthold. You are getting the carry of a fucking lifetime today, my friend. Good job. Good job. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't break the group. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Can't take groups, unfortunately. But is that 13? Loading in, leave a spot if possible, please. I'll save you a spot, Mr. Norton, don't you worry. What are we up to? 14? The flipping tanks are unreal. I'm not gonna lie, a druid tank or a druid tank or a paladin tank, I think has to be on the cards for me at some point. Right, we got 5 more spots, boys and girls. 4 more spots, sorry, because Mr. Norton's turning up in a second. 4 more spots. Use password gold. Put gold in the note. People by default are just putting their verse in the notes these days. Four more spots for anybody on stream. There's no level requirement, no item level requirement, no requirement really. The only requirement is that you be in the stream. Simple. Rocky, how we doing? In you come. Really difficult turning down 740s just because they are not in the stream. There's a gold. Well, we got two spots. 2 spots. Difficult to filter through the randoms right now. I'd like to try and keep this a full stream run if we can. With 2 spots, there's opportunities for anybody with low level alts or something if you want. Use gold in the note. Donk bonk. Flipping names. Definitely worth waiting when it's only stream. People rushing ahead's annoying when locked out. Yeah. Been a while since I ran this raid, and that was only as a DPS. Oh, don't you worry. Don't you worry. I got 2 more spots, boys and girls, for Nighthold on Mythic. I mean, I'm willing to do it just 18 man if needs be, rather than inviting randoms. I love randoms. I'm happy to help randoms, but sometimes they cannot be trusted. First raid proved that. Okay. I've delisted the group. If you've got until we pull the first boss, if you can whisper me, you can have one of the last 2 spots for Nighthold on Mythic. Otherwise, we'll just do it as 18 man. It's fine.
The Falderai have breached the palace. Stop them before the guards take
Thank you for the
notice.
summons. Let me just give Mr. Norton assistance here. It makes things a bit more straightforward. Do you think beta will start in December? I think beta will be before December. I think we'll roll straight out of... Beta could be as little as 2 weeks away. Because there's a very strong chance that Alpha will just roll straight into Beta. And if you have pre-purchased your Epic Edition, you'll have access to the Beta as soon as it starts. I think there's a good chance of that happening. Equally, they could take, they could finish. They could say, right, this was the Alpha done, thank you very much. Come back in a few weeks and we'll open Beta. But I have a suspicion they'll just roll it straight in. Whatever happened to that new game mode they teased a while back, the Duskwood creepy looking one? Radio silence on that. I was hoping it would come out for Halloween, but nothing. Yeah, I think that's been sidelined. I think it's probably all hands on deck with housing right now. I would say it's pretty safe to assume that that's been sidelined for a while. I mean, the fact that we only ever got 1 real mention of it, like, once upon a time, it was never, it was never that out there, was it? Easy to put that on the back burner for a while. Right, good job, boys and girls. Let's kill it. Maybe they'll just stealth drop it now. I mean, maybe. Imagine if it just randomly turned up tomorrow.
Infuse this creature with the Nightwell's power. Have a care. If this abomination was created to protect lower reaches of the Citadel from invaders, it must be particularly deadly. This is a momentous day, my friends. Until the Legion came, no outsider was permitted inside the corridors of the Nighthold for 10,000
Darts starting.
years.
Oh wait, this is your... Oh, is this the Darts intro music, is it? It's funny how certain tracks of music get like ingrained in your brain,
Now the fate of my people rests in the hands of
linked
outsiders.
to like a certain
All of
thing.
you, to
It's like
save us from the
for me.
terrible bargain made by
This
our
is gonna be
queen.
really bad because I can't remember the name of the example. I think the track is called The Chain, but for me it just screams Formula One. There are certain tracks of music that, you know, are just known to be this sport or that sport or something. Michael Van Gerwen fighting in a kebab place. That's the thing I like about darts. So stereotypical fat man drinking beer. Like it's the only sport where you can be the least sportsman-y as possible. Football used to be like that, and then it just got too competitive, and now everybody is absolutely ripped at the age of 40, and it makes you feel sick. But yeah, you have to use the word sport very loosely with darts. But it is though now, isn't it? It's going that way. It's going that way.
Allies at the gate. This monstrosity must be destroyed.
Precise. Perfect. Inevitable.
Right, I vaguely remember there's something that has to be interrupted on this dude. Or you just fuck him up. Or you just fuck him up. Job done. Good job, boys and girls. Even smoked on live TV during darts back in the day. Oh, of course, yeah. It was like that man in a pub drinking beer, throwing some darts. Like, I like how darts has made like a huge comeback. And now I know it's big in some countries all the time anyway. I'm gonna look at this from the UK perspective. But like in the last couple of years, I mean Luke Littler or whatever his name is has done a pretty good job of revitalizing interest in it from the younger generation. I remember as a kid, it was always really fun going down the pub with your parents or family or whatever. You know, you'd get your panda pop, your bag of chips, bag of crisps, and you'd get like, you know, you'd ask the man behind the bar if you could have the darts. And they'd usually let you have the darts because it was less risky than letting you loose with a pool cue. Hold up, your parents dragged you to the pub? Yeah, man. Well, you didn't have to drag us. It was like, you would ask. You'd be like, it's Friday. Are we going down the pub? It was a family outing on a Friday evening. Kids would be more eager to go down the pub than the adults half the time.
The palace grounds are just ahead. You'll find them even more heavily.
You would have those
defended than
weird
the lower
pubs that wouldn't
levels.
let kids in past a certain hour or something, but do you know what Tato chips are? I don't. But Tato is clearly just short for potato, right? Unless I'm seriously off the mark there. Wait, is this a boss? There's no way this is a boss. This is just a rare, right? I should know. I did this raid a few times yesterday, but
I don't believe our cover has been compromised. Quickly, find Aluriel and breach the gates.
was it common? I know your parents did it with you, but how about with other kids? You've awoken the sociologist in me. Oh yeah, super common. Like really super common. Very, very English. Of the millennial generation, super common. entire chains of pubs and restaurants heavily focused towards bringing kids. I mean, you know, certain, you know, you would have the family restaurant, the family pub down the end of the road. Like, if kids weren't allowed in the pub, then that pub wouldn't last very long, unless it was just dedicated by old men, you know, completely farmed by old men. Super common. Super, super common. I mean, this is obviously when, you know, rules were a little bit looser. Kids would go up to the bar, they'd get their, you know, their glass of Coke or whatever. They'd, you know, they'd get the, you know, they'd buy the beer for the dad.
Entire armies,
you know, the half a cider for the wife.
What chance could you possibly have against me?
And, you know, mum and dad would be sat at one of the booths somewhere. They'd just give the kid a 20 to go to the bar to buy the drinks. Totally normal. I mean, the barman might look over when you start ordering ordering drinks, but no issues whatsoever. Kids weren't going down the pub just by themselves, though. It was literally a family thing. Like, mum, dad, kids would go out to the pub. Mum and dad would socialise with, you know, friends. Kids would have, kids would get to play on the pool table or on the, you know, the arcade machine, or put 50 pence in the jukebox to play some tunes or something. Totally normal. This is Mythic, yeah. We're in Mythic right now. Luke Littler, that's his name. You can see he's been in the pub at a young age. I would say he's 32, 33, but he's 17. Yeah, he's This is why he was so impressive. Why he broke the dart scene in the UK. He wasn't even old enough to be able to drink beer legally, yet he was absolutely obliterating people at darts.
Free at last.
I used to go to the corner shop, buy cigs and alcohol for my parents. The shop owners knew us, though. Yeah, that was real common. You know, you'd go down, you'd get sent to the corner shop to buy, you know, pint of milk and loaf of bread. Get,
but I suppose we,
you know, get Grandma's 20 Regals.
Until then, I'll amuse myself
Very
by
common.
cleaning up their mess. Never trust a mortal to do a demon's work.
I'm thinking mostly about the cultural difference in regarding to alcoholic beverages, because in Sweden that would be unthinkable to bring a kid to an actual pub.
Feed my hunger, rich.
Yeah, there probably is some cultural difference there. I don't know enough about Swedish culture. I mean, I know a reasonable amount it now. I live next door to Sweden these days, but it's I don't know enough about it culturally from like 20 years ago. Yeah, in the UK, like, if you were a pub that didn't allow kids in, you weren't a pub that did very well. And then obviously you'd have some towns and cities and stuff that would have like, you know, you'd have youth groups and stuff where, you know, the kids could go to the youth group on a Friday evening, and then the mum and dad would be in the pub 3 doors down. But in places where there wasn't like youth groups for the kids, they'd all just pile into the pub. And the best pub would be the one that had the pool table that let the kids play on it. Once again, a pub that restricted kids from using the pool table was not a pub that did very well for very long. Because like 90% of its clientele was just like, well, we'll go to the other pub where they do let the kids play on the pool table. I mean, you also forget that kids would be able to order. This is a this is a big example of the difference, right? Kids would be able to order a shandy, which, for reference, is like half a lager, but with lemonade. Now, obviously, if a child ordered a shandy, it was like mostly lemonade with a bit of lager in it. But it was still a thing.
The stars align. Fear that such insolence. Very well. I shall show
Which
you.
I don't know if that swings these
See for
days, but
yourself the cruel
probably not.
frozen void that lies beyond the margin of Azeroth's skies. The Burning Legion, slayers of whole worlds. Could we hope to resist? Can you?
In what other ways besides the pool table, arcades, etc. will pubs cater towards handling kids? Well, the better pubs out there would also do food, and they would have very focused kids menus. You could get your sausages and beans and turkey dinosaurs and chips and whatever. Pretty much in any way you could imagine being, yeah, large gardens, play equipment in the gardens, all of this sort of stuff.
Do not think the future will be so easy.
I think it's this is where the difference comes from a pub and a bar, right? This is where I've noticed this now living in Finland, of that Finland doesn't have pubs, and I imagine Sweden is probably the same, or very similar, that they don't have what I know as a pub. A pub is like a family restaurant kind of place. That's, you know, warm, cozy, this sort of thing. Very different to a bar. You know, you'd go out into town and you'd go to the bars and you'd have a drink and a cocktail and then you'd go to the club. That's a very different thing to, like, pub culture. UK pub culture is somewhere where you go for a pint or two after work on a Friday. You could take the kids there, there'd be a play area for the kids, pool table, darts for people to play on, of which most of the time was basically a way for adults to go there. Adults could socialise and, you know, chat with friends and meet up with people, but the kids were also entertained, so there was no worry about having to get babysitters or anything like that. Some places would have a curfew time for kids, like no kids in there after like 9:30. But the pub would probably close at 11 anyway. It was just like so that there was at least that hour in the like you know, the final hour or so where it was just adults only. But for the most part, if you were a pub that didn't facilitate kids, you just weren't going to do very well. But yeah, pub very different to like a bar. Yeah, you'd never take a kid out to a bar. That'd be absolutely mental. But a bar is that place that is dedicated to go to have a drink. Your UK pub cultures are far more sort of family-focused, you know, entertainment area. Which is a culture that Finland just doesn't have. And like I said, this is why I probably assume that places like Sweden don't either. Oh yeah, I forget you have to focus one down.
One garden pest deserves another. Night falls upon you!
You also have canteens in the UK? You mean like canteen is, you know, somewhere that serves food kind of canteen?
Careful not to singe the buns.
Or is
You
the
burn.
translation cafes? Yeah. Canteen, I would spell it with a C, which is why I wonder if it's a translation thing, but connected to like sports clubs and stuff. You'd have your canteen at schools. You'd go to the canteen for lunch at school,
Job seriously.
where you'd get your what used to be your, you know, burger and chips. Now it's flipping healthy salad bullshit, but yeah, you would often find that like pubs and social clubs and things would be quite heavily linked to the sports clubs. Now, I lived in an area of the UK where rugby was quite prominent. I lived somewhere where there was each town had its own rugby club, and the rugby clubs would also then have sort of like very well associated like pubs, and that was very common a thing. I have no idea how we got onto this topic of conversation, but it's I didn't realise it was A, quite so interesting, or B, so foreign a thing to some people. It's the assumptive Brit again, isn't it? Some assumption being that our culture is clearly the same as everybody else's. Which rugby, that's a sport that makes my head hurt just looking at it. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I was never a fan. Although my build for rugby was always the fast, skinny one. Give me the ball and I will run faster than the other people. And if I get absolutely clarted, then then that's my game over. This is why I didn't really like rugby. I was never built for rugby. I had brains, not brawn. I was more designed for football. Well, you're referencing to a bar in my reference to a pub, hence the initial confusion. Yeah, this is it. This is why I thought that was worth clarifying, that pub, bar is kind of quite intertwined. And it's because pub culture doesn't really exist that much outside of the UK. There are some places that do it reasonably well. I know Germany has a... and I would go as far as to say probably places like the Netherlands and stuff, but Netherlands and France and things, I think they tend to lean more towards like cafe culture. In the UK, it's pub culture. It's the place you go to just kind of relax. You might go for a drink at, you know, a bite to eat at lunch, or you might go on a Friday evening to socialise. But it's kind of a, you know, an all's welcome kind of place. An open house. I mean, that's literally where the word pub comes from. A public house, an open place for everybody to go to. Whereas a bar is where you go to drink, and you know, you'll go from one bar to another because, you know, one bar will be good at cocktails and one bar will be good at, like, you know, something else. We have an English... Yeah, the Irish pubs get everywhere. They get about. A good Irish pub, doesn't matter where you go to in the world, a good Irish pub is always a good pub. For sure. You'll never be more welcome anywhere than in an Irish pub. Why? Because the Irish love a good drink, and they're friendly people. No discrimination there. You want to come in and have a drink and a chit chat? Be my guest. I mean, to this day, I've lived in Finland over a decade now. It's still one of the things that I absolutely crave that just doesn't exist here. That, like, pub culture.
Desperate attempt to stop the Legion.
Nothing would beat, like, on a Sunday afternoon. You'd go out for a nice long walk or something on a Sunday afternoon, and then you'd finish the walk by going into the pub. You could have a nice warm meal, nice warm meal and a couple of pints. There'd be a log fire or something on in the corner. Like, you just don't get that here. It just doesn't exist. You have bars where you can order a drink, or you have like train station pubs, which are just full of the local drunks that aren't really that friendly in most cases. They're often friendly to me because I'm the interesting foreigner, but to other random Finnish people, the train station bars are usually something to avoid.
Your deaths ensure the future of the night.
Certainly not open and welcoming, and certainly not family friendly.
Let us speed you towards your fate. Your timelines end here.
Aren't Scottish people the same like the Irish? You will never see a Scot and an Irishman make that assumption about each other. They will consider themselves very different. They're uniquely different. Let's put it that way.
You exist in but a single moment.
When I think of a typical British person, I think of a guy at a football club giving everybody the finger and calling them a cunt. Yeah, that's I mean, I know it's a big Aussie thing, isn't it, to drop a C-bomb, and you'll call your best mate a cunt. It is both an insult and it is also a term of affection. It's one of the weird things. This is where it's all in the tone, it's all in the pronunciation of it. This is where the English language is a little bit like some Asian languages, where it's not what you say, it's how you say it. That's where people can take their understanding of English from I know English to like almost native level English, when you start understanding the nuance of how a word is said can actually drastically change its meaning.
How can it be so?
The Aussies take it to an absolute extreme with, calling their best friends the most outrageous things you'll ever hear them. Which sounds absolutely ludicrous and crazy to everybody else, but to them it's totally normal. I mean, just watch, watch one Goldson stream and you'll get the gist.
Wonder.
Few Scottish friends, they did love to drink and chat a lot whilst drinking, and then drink a lot more. Yeah. Yeah, anybody that is housed on the British Isles has quite often ends up liking a drink, should we say? English, Scots, Welsh, Irish. We all like a good drink.
Behold.
And then that extends to, your Aussies. They may live on the other side of the globe, but there's a touch of British in every Aussie.
No more distractions. I have work to do.
Yes, yes. You should come for dinner is not an invitation. Nobody ever wants to see you again. Pleasantries. This is a thing that makes my wife laugh to this day, and her English is like better than native. Her English is better than my English. My wife's English is on another level. Her and her family just have this gift for languages. Her English is beyond native level English. But to this very day, she still finds like pleasantries hysterical.
Time to return the demon hunter's
Like
soul to
just
us.
meeting and greeting
Deny the
people.
Legion's master a host.
Like you'll walk past somebody in a street, and like in English you'll be like, "You're right? How you doing? I don't want to know if you're all right, and I do not want to know how you are doing." That is me saying hello. If you answer that question, I'm not listening. I'm already gone. Right? These are like English pleasantries within the language. And that sort of "you should come for dinner" thing is me extending to you that we are friends, but you turn up at my house. No, no, no. There's a lot of stuff in English that is said but not meant when you get into like the fine details of the language. Oh shit, what are these bugs about? Didn't see them yesterday. Clearly don't have the same level of damage we had yesterday. Fucking hell, I'm top of the DPS. Pull your fingers out, boys and girls. There's no way I should be top of the tree. Good job though, boys and girls. Good job. Good job. Hey, Khadgar's got a quest. Why has Khadgar got a quest? 64 fragments. I love how Gul'dan on Mythic acts as 2 bosses. Double loot. Double loot. It's really nice. I didn't actually pay any attention to what that quest was. Anyway, thank you very much for the raid, boys and girls. Very smooth. Very smooth. Once again, thank you, Mr. Norton, for keeping a sense of order while I was yabbiting away. Right, what are we up to? 720 fragmented mementos. Yes, yes. In the Netherlands, we will tell you straight to your face that you are fat, and it's meant in a good way. Yeah. Right, let's, what are we on? 167 ranks. We got 7 more of these. You're getting 118,750 infinite power per turn in. Beautiful. That put us up to 183. Nice. A little bit, a few raids tomorrow. We might be looking at pushing 200. Which is where we'll hit the damage reduction cap. 91.5 so far. It's hard to get in on normal. In normal on alt these days. Yeah, I always knew this would be a bit of a thing in Legion Remix, more so than Mop Remix. It's not been so bad so far, but there's very little reason for anybody to bring low-level characters in Mop Remix, which I always knew would be a problem for alts. In Mop Remix, low-level characters were super giga OP. And so you would have no problem bringing somebody level 30 to your normal raid, because they'd actually probably end up doing as much damage as somebody who is max geared. Whereas in Legion Remix, I can definitely see the quantity of normal raids is probably a lot less, because people like me who have leveled up will do the mythic, and then they don't have much of a reason to go and do heroic and normal. You might get some people doing heroic as well, but what did that take me? An hour? It took me an hour to do those 3 raids with you guys as well, relatively organized groups. So, you know, another hour to do them all again on heroic, and then you'd have to be really dedicated to do a third hour doing it all again, and obviously you get less reward for each hour spent doing it. So, you know, I'm of the opinion already right now that sure, I'll do mythic as like my basic every day, but I'm probably not gonna feel much value in doing any more than that, really.
Our paths cross at last.
For example, I genuinely can't be bothered to complete these anymore even, which is really silly because I absolutely should because I'm so close to 400%. But I think for this character I am probably about done for today. That's some basics out the way. I am going to just sit on these motes of a broken time now. It's going to really annoy me every time I see them because as far as I'm concerned, this is gear for my ults that I can't use yet because these are soulbound. I'm hoping I can... well, I have given feedback to Blizzard that, like, please make these warbound. You still have to do something to earn them. But if I have earned it, at least let me use it. The dichotomy of needing these so aggressively on ults, yet having a whole bunch of them on my main sitting gathering dust is just a frustration that doesn't need to be a frustration. Get them warbound, Blizz. Get them warbound. I don't know if dichotomy is the right word there, but it sounded cool. I'm still trying to pad out my leech gear, actually. Wall store. Oh my god, my crit's down to 62%. That's atrocious. We need to fix that. I need to stack leech, but not at the cost of crit. Didn't realise I'd done that. Things like this, where we've got leech and double mastery. No, thank you. Haste mastery. 724? Why have I got random ass 724 bits of gear? Get the fuck out of my bags. Where's that? 724 gear. Get out of here. That's those stupid mythic pluses giving itemized gear again. Giving me stupid stuff that I don't want. I don't have any... Leech mastering crit. Double crit with avoidance. That gets my crit up nicely. Crit haste, going to be difficult to fix that unless I've got double crit with leech. Double crit leech would be really nice. Double crit leech. Like those, for example. Oh, that is... that... Oh, my gear's actually perfect. Oh, don't touch it. Don't touch it. My gear's actually perfect now. 100% crit chance, 100% haste, 84% mastery. Oh, it's actually perfect. Don't touch it. 15% leech still. Oh, we're good. Never touching it ever again. That is the combo. 23% speed is not enough. I'm gearing for endgame Mythic Plus, really, more than anything else now. You're right, 23% speed is not enough. But
Your feet find good
to have a good amount of leech and to cap out 100% crit. Still not convinced leech is the way to go. Your pets don't benefit from it. True. But if I take damage, which I really shouldn't, my leech does benefit me greatly. I know my pets are doing an awful lot of the damage, but I'm also doing a lot of other damage. Certainly enough that I would rather have some leech for when I do take damage, because my only other button really is exhilaration, and that's on a 2-minute cooldown. And avoidance, let's not forget, is only from AoE effects. Okay, right. That's my gear. I'm not touching this ever again. I don't think I'm touching this ever again. This week is Grievous. It's annoying without leech or a healer. Yeah, I certainly wouldn't be taking leech. I certainly wouldn't be taking speed over leech right now. I would like to maintain, where possible, a full leech set. If it doesn't work perfectly, sure, fine. Like these pants, for example. If I could get double haste leech right now, double haste leech. Oh my god, I actually do have double haste leech pants. Oh, that's even better. Oh, that's actually even better. That's even better once again.
Come, shop, browse. Smell.
Anyway. Should we do some alpha? Should we have a little poke around on the alpha? Let's have a poke around on the alpha. Oh shit, did I update? Hang on, please hold. Oh, I bet I didn't update it. Don't know, it might be good. Might be good. Right. Exit Amundo. Probably going to need to make some new tunes for this as well. With every build, you should probably just make new characters. Oh yeah. We can play Remix via the alpha. Don't know why you would, but you could. Right, okay. These dudes are my 4 main characters who are there for the purpose of looking at the profession stuff. Should we have a little flick through some of the professions just to refresh ourselves? See what's occurring. I'm going to really put the music down low so it's very backgroundy now. Mostly because it helps me think. We have the ability. What does the character template give us right now? Probably level 88 characters, right? Is it level 88 pre-mades? Oh. Well, that's interesting. It still only gives us level 80 pre-mades. Okay. I wonder if there's an NPC you speak to that pings you straight to 88. Okay. The zone that's available this week is the 88 to 90 zone. Interesting. Right, we'll come back to that later. Okay. Alright, I'm going to have a little bit of a refresh and have a little bit of a look, see if anything clearly noticeable has changed with the professions. Before we do this, I'm going to... Oh, my dogs are funny. My dogs are funny. Let me see if I can show you this without without causing interruptions. Obviously, these two are cute as beans. These two, cute as beans. Absolutely chilling. Then you've got this one. Look at that for a pose. Look at that for a pose. Would you believe she's 8? That is a pose. He is chilling. Maximum chilling. Some of your talents have reset due to changes in the talent tree. Great, excellent. Alright, sure, great, thanks for that. Okay. Right. Jewel crafting and leather working. Oh, wait. Why do I not have bear on battle tag? How's that not being a thing? Right, I want to start with jewel crafting. Let me see if and anything appears to have changed with this. This is where being able to reference... Oh, they've changed this now. Materials now have new icons. Or standard, normal quality, and then high quality. High quality has a golden... What's that? Hexagon? Is it a hexagon? 5-sided shape? Hexagon? Pentagon is 7. What's the 6-sided shape? Isn't hex 8? Oh yeah, for hexadecimal. Hex is 6, isn't it? What's the one above square? Fucking hell, I'm looking real stupid now, aren't I? Octagon is 8. Pentagon. Yeah, there we go. Pentagon. Pentagon. Pentagon's 5-sided. Hexagon is 6-sided. Sept... I don't know, whatever. Shapes, innit? Okay, well, they've taken into consideration a change of these, which is definitely good and was definitely needed. I'm going to need to refer to my notes over in Discord here a little bit, aren't I, maybe? Right, anything of note? They haven't done any shenanigans with the materials or anything, have they? We still have crystalline glass, dusk-shrouded stone, glimmering gem dust, tenebrous amethysts, Alandair peridot. They've changed the names of these then. Armani lapis, sanguine garnets. Pretty sure those have changed their name. Sure they weren't what they were called previously. Effulgent copper's still the same. Umbral tin, brilliant silver, and then dazzling thorium. They're all the same. I was not able to previously find one of the diamonds. Eversong diamonds are still a thing. Jewel crafters. Spectries. Oh, these are new icons. They got some new icons in here now. Each spec tree has its own icon. Any changes to the trees? Let's have a little look. What were my notes on the 4 trees? Thoughtful throughput is our stat padding tree. These notes are, by the way, all in the Discord. The professions that I have already done little overviews for, they're in the Discord. I'm gonna sell out the Discord. So there's some Midnight Alpha section on the Discord where I've started to put some information about the professions. I started this in week 1 of the alpha, but remixes got in the way, and I haven't added to it since. But there is some basic info there for the professions. And if I've done a first look video, that's also linked there as well. Professions are still, to my understanding, kind of very look but don't touch. The only way I was able to get these materials was actually by farming the flipping ore myself, which was kind of annoying, but sure. Artisan considered order. Sindori masterwork chisel. These are your treasures, which are still a thing. Big old gem cutting tree. Profession tools, necklaces and rings, specialization. And has this changed in any way? Doesn't look like it. Blacksmiths repair their armor again. I can't remember. I'll have a little look at blacksmithing in a bit. I only want a quick sort of 5-minute overview just to like get my bearings again for each profession. See if there's any clear and obvious things that have changed. Is high quality still 40%? Yes. So for the maths nerds out there, using high quality materials is basically the same as using quality 3 materials in the War Within now. Meaning if you use a high quality material, if you use all high quality materials, it equates to 40% of the recipe difficulty, quote unquote, for free via the materials. Meaning you need to find the other 60% via the profession and your tools and stuff. So for all intensive purposes, normal quality is the same as quality 1 in the War Within. And it's actually quality 2 that they've kind of just removed. Which for me will make an interesting, will make concentration crafting interesting. Because today, in the War Within, when you're using concentration, you use quality 2. Because if you use all quality 2 materials, you get 25% of the recipe difficulty paid for. Whereas going into Midnight, yes, you'll be able to start using concentration from basically the very second you get the recipe, but using normal materials won't give you any bonus skill, which will mean each craft will chunk through way more of your concentration. You're not getting 25% of the recipe difficulty for free by just the materials anymore. So it creates a much longer tail and a lot more variancy to the cost of using concentration. Because if you make something using all Q1 mats, you are sure, yes, you can make something with all Q1 mats. But if you use concentration to make it a high quality, you're going to need to be using way more concentration than you're used to. Have I got any recipe here that's like a better example of that? Yeah, so here, for example, when you're actually looking at cutting gems, if you only use normal mats, which is the reason why you would use concentration anyway, because high quality mats are going to be more expensive. If you only use normal quality mats here and then use concentration, you're looking at basically nearly 500 concentration right now. So yeah, you can start pressing this button and make high quality stuff really quickly. But you really ain't going to make much of it. As soon as you start putting high quality materials in here, you then very quickly start competing with those people who can mass produce. The value in concentration is the saving from those high quality materials. So it's kind of a buff to concentration crafting, the fact that you can start doing it earlier, because in the War Within you have to level your profession to the point where you can use quality 2 materials and guarantee quality 2. So there's that leveling process that you have to go through in the War Within. Or you can use quality 2 materials and concentration to make quality 3. So it's kind of buffed the fact that all you need is the recipe and you can straight away start banging out stuff. But it's nerfed in terms of the fact that you'll use way more concentration to do that. And because you've got materials like moats that don't have quality and will be standardized in price, there's a lot less room for saving to be had. Like, you're using 6 materials here to produce an endgame gem. That means any concentration is only saving you the difference between 6 materials, which is a very small amount. This was the problem that, like, tailoring has in the War Within right now. The reason why tailoring doesn't really have much value with concentration, simply because it just doesn't use many materials. Yeah, Q3 materials are more expensive, but you use so few of them that there's not much of a saving there. That means your saving per point of concentration ratio is just bad. And it's why enchanting works really well, because it uses a fuck ton of materials. All the materials. Now, Eversong, high quality Eversong diamonds though, this is somewhere where the price difference could be pretty drastic. High quality diamonds could be they could either be very difficult to come by, but it depends on how easily you're able to get high quality ore. You're not going to get high quality diamonds unless you're prospecting high quality ore, basically. The difficulty of prospecting basically dictates that you are not unless you put high quality ore in there, you are not getting high quality gems out of it. But that means if high quality ore ends up being expensive, in turn, high quality gems will then also be expensive. And multiply that for the fact that diamonds will be the most expensive for as long as people still want meta gems. The second you get one of these meta gem recipes, yes, you can come along with your quality 1 materials and press concentration, but you can do 1 you can produce 1 every 4 days. You better hope that the high quality versions of these makes that 1 every 4 day worth your while. Question is also whether you'll be able to make the best quality without concentration at all. True. Very true. I did some napkin maths. Now, I didn't focus too much on this because it's still very early days. But I did some napkin maths, and I was quite frequently realizing that you are not able to reach the recipe difficulty even with full build professions on a lot of stuff. So I have a suspicion, and this won't be easy to math out or test or even worth putting the effort in until the beta, really. but I do have a sneaky suspicion that you may not ever actually be able to produce certain things. I would imagine things like these your high value meta gems, you may not actually ever be able to make these at high quality. Guaranteed. You might only ever be able to make them with concentration. But what your prerogative as a jewel crafter then is to use high quality materials, but to limit the amount of concentration that is used per craft as much as possible. So you will spec this out as much as you can. You'll get these up and running as much as you can. You'll get your specializations in order as much as you can, so that every little thing that goes towards it reduces this number down. So instead of making one every 4 days with a brand new jewel crafter, maybe you can start making 2, 3, 4, 5 of them every 4 days, which that is the way you'll multiply your profit. I think we're possibly looking at a bit of a balance between Dragonflight crafting, where you relied on procs to get quality 3 stuff, and the War Within, where you could guarantee stuff if you tried hard enough. I think we're going to find a bit of a middle ground with this, and they're going to use concentration as the middle ground. Those who want to push their professions as hard as possible will see extra value from their concentration by doing so. But you can spin up a jewel crafter in 5 minutes and press a button once every 4 days and you'll get something. Yeah, that world would end up meaning that +5 racial bonuses start to matter, but it probably won't be the difference between, you know, it's not going to matter. I can't imagine it will matter enough to actually sort of make a huge difference, but it won't be the difference of crafting something or not crafting something. It will be like, if you have the right racial, maybe you can make 10 instead of everybody else that makes 9 with a full bar of concentration, for example. It will be an advantage, but not a necessity, which is where racials should be. They should never be that you're just fucked if you don't have it. How'd you get the new gems without thaumaturgy? Prospecting. Old school. Prospecting. All of the gems, including the diamonds, come from prospecting. There's no point trying to figure out prospecting rates or anything like that at the moment, because it's just not worth it. But yeah, prospecting. I prospected a few bits and pieces of ore that I actually farmed up myself, just to get some basic gems to see what's going on. To basically just have a few materials to tinker around with and play with, but prospecting, for example, you could take jewel crafters who spec into prospecting specifically, for example, their best use of concentration might be something weird like prospecting dazzling thorium, your rare ore, your nullstone equivalent, where this could be a prime candidate for your use of concentration. Because if this ends up having quite a high chance of producing diamonds, and more importantly, when you prospect it, it's going to give you the high quality gems, this could be a really strong candidate for a well-spec'd prospector to come along and spend some concentration on. You can because I can tell you categorically, with thorium, dazzling thorium not having quality, there is not 665 skill that can be obtained. There is absolutely no way you're going to be prospecting thorium without concentration. So, for example, now, for the purpose of the stream, you go boom. And there we go. That got me a quality 2 blue gem of rare quality. And it also got me 2 pieces of Dusk Shroud stone at high quality. Probably not very valuable. But if you prospect this using concentration and you proc a diamond, then it's fucking Christmas. Let's go. But sometimes that happens. Like I said, testing this sort of stuff out right now is not really worth the effort. Because it's very early days, but the balance of all of this depends on how easy it is to get the ores. Yay, gamba. Well, prospecting is exactly that, isn't it? Prospecting is it's the reason why jewel crafting has always been one of my favourite professions, because it has an element of maths really early in the process, and if you understand that maths, you can you remove RNG by understanding the maths, and you understand the maths by understanding, like, you know, it's a law of averages. If I prospect 1,000 ore, do I have a reasonably good idea of what the results will be? And if I do have a reasonably good idea of what the results will be from prospecting 1,000 ore, then I can then do the maths to figure out, well, is it worth me doing it with the price of the ore at the moment? Yes or no? You can average it out somewhat on large quantities, but that will not be the case with things like concentration. Exactly. Exactly. This is why I think it's kind of it could be kind of an interesting concept, that prospecting spect jewel crafters, there's lots of room to put points in this sort of stuff, and in fact there's an entire node for specializing in prospecting dazzling thorium. Now, we have had nodes in spec trees before that have basically been just dead on arrival, that you just flat out do not put points in. This could end up being that way. But there is the viability of a prospector choosing to become very good at doing this. And then it is, yes, gamba. You would, you know, as much as your concentration allows you to, prospect dazzling thorium for an occasional high chance of getting a big quality diamond proc. And if it does, it pays for all of the time you get fisted. The maths on that, but you know, you don't, when you're heavily restricted on the amount of times you can actually press a button, you know, averages mean nothing at that point. But it could be quite fun. It would be quite fun to see. But like I said, if quality 2 ore ends up being very easy to achieve, then what you will find is that you'll just have no problem prospecting thousands and thousands of quality 2 ore. And that will be how you go about getting your quality 2 diamonds that way. So it's a balance based on how easy the materials are to get. If quality 2 ores are difficult to acquire, or sorry, I should call them high quality. Let's use the actual Blizzard terms. If high quality ores are difficult to acquire, they'll be more expensive and you'll be less incentivized to prospect them. If that's the case, then quality 2 diamonds will actually then be like super rare and super expensive, because there'll be no easy, cheap way to get them. But once again, I feel that jewel crafting will be quite an interesting early expansion one. Like I said, very maths focused. If you understand prospecting rates nice and early, or before the average, you have a bit of a leg up, a bit of an advantage. I made probably 10 million gold off prospecting and crushing at the beginning of the War Within, just because I knew what the process was. I knew that taking crushing... The fun thing for me was buying up all of the cheap gems that people were crafting whilst leveling, that were basically being thrown on the auction house like they were vendor trash. They weren't vendor trash. You could buy them up, and you could buy the buying the cut gems. Buying cut gems and crushing those was an absolute life hack at the beginning, because you would then you were able to spit out high quality gem dust that was selling for like stupid money. Now obviously it only lasted a few days until people caught up, but I made 10 million gold off it before people figured it out. Jewel crafters are still responsible for making vials for the alchemists. And same scenario again. The recipe difficulty on this is absolutely criminal. Absolutely criminally high. Meaning there is quick napkin maths. Even if you use high quality glass and high quality stone here, that only accounts for 40% of this, which let's call that 400 points for the... No, 300 points for the sake of maths. That means you're responsible for finding 400 skill 100 from up here. You then need 300 skill. You might get 50 from up here. That's 250 skill. You are not getting 250 skill towards making these from a Spectre. Considering there isn't even a tree that specifically focuses on them. You have like a couple of nodes down here. Optional reagents, basic reagents. You have 30 points in here. Yeah, you are not getting 250 skill out of that. So this is another example where I do not believe you'll be making vials at high quality without the use of concentration. So all of those alchemists that are going to want high quality vials to help with making their high quality potions and flasks are going to be very much like, I need them. And if alchemists are then in the same position, being that they can't make high quality potions or flasks without using high quality vials, you know, the profit gets passed on. That means that your high quality vials, your high quality potions could end up being either very limited in supply or very expensive. Because at least as it stands right now, there ain't no way you're guaranteeing, and no way you're reaching 705 skill, whatever you do. Which means at any point you're going to be using concentration. Now I don't have high quality mats here to show this, but 40% of 705 is like 300 and something, right? That's still going to mean that you're using 200, 250 concentration, I'd imagine. Even using high quality materials here, you'd still be using 250 concentration to make vials at high quality. Looks like everything's going to be omega expensive. I think Blizzard could be playing into the, like I said, it looks like it's teeing up to be a bit of a combination between Dragonflight and the War Within. Obviously, the concept of concentration from the War Within, allowing people to choose when they make high quality stuff, but at the cost of them not being able to make very many of it. And the Dragonflight crafting experience of where you could never actually guarantee top quality things. You would want to push your professions as far as possible, but the reason you would want to do that is not to get to the point where you can guarantee top quality stuff. It is to increase the quantity of top quality stuff you can produce on a daily basis. Because when you very much start are making 2 vials at high quality. 2 vials is not going to go very far at high quality, is it really? Let's be honest. But if they balance, and it depends on, I don't know how to show you this because I don't have reference to it, but there are charts. If you're in retail right now, open Craft Sim, you can see the recipe, the concentration charts. Craft Sim mapped them all out. You can see how the amount of concentration changes based on your skill. If Blizzard tweaks those graphs so that the closer to this number you are, the less concentration you need, they could balance this so that is where your progress comes from within the professions. They could balance it so that at the beginning you need an absolute fucking metric ton of the stuff to make anything, but every time you get that little bit more skill, that little bit better profession tools, those extra knowledge points, every time you see a noticeable decrease in the amount of concentration needed, amplifying the amount of high quality stuff you can make on a daily basis. And that becomes your profession sort of progress until you are min-maxed in something where you would still need concentration, but a min-maxed crafter would be able to make 10 high quality things at the same rate that a brand new crafter could only make like 1 or 2. I can't confirm any of this specifically, and this is all still alpha, But the more I've looked at it, the more I get that impression that we might not be guaranteeing things at top quality. We might only be making high quality stuff with concentration. And if that's the case, alt armies are going to be very useful. Very useful. If you can only make 2 high quality things a day on a single character, well, you roll out 50 characters, then all of a sudden you're making 100 high quality things a day. But a single crafter will be able to continue pushing their profession far enough to maybe be able to make 10 things a day just with their one character, for example. They even labeled crafts like normal and high quality. Yeah. Yeah, they've changed the icons now. They've changed the icons on materials, which is good. It's a lot more clear and straightforward that this is your normal stuff and this is your high quality stuff. I like. Yeah, but the burnout, not worth hating the game for it. It also boils down to just how much are you looking to make. You know? The reality is that if they make it so that you have to use concentration to make high quality stuff, without doubt, people will do it. You know why people will do it? Because it will be really worth doing. Be really worth doing. It'll be really worth doing. You know, people will easily fight through the mud when there's good profit margins in doing stuff. And this same concept for reference. I know I've just been looking at jewel crafting, but on each and every profession I've looked at, I've got similar impressions. Similar impressions being that, at least in this very early stage of alpha, any of the professions that are indicating recipe difficulties, the recipe difficulties seem to be very high for a lot of stuff. You know, a optional crafting reagent, scale woven hide, 500 recipe difficulty. Now 40% of 500 is what, 200-ish? That means you have to make it, like, so your materials, quality 3 materials in here is going to give you about 200 points. You then need to make up the final 300. You get 100 up here, 50 up here-ish. You're then needing 150. Are you going to get 150 skill points from your spec trees to make a material? Maybe not. Maybe you can get 50 points. Maybe you can get 100 points. Maybe you can get 400 out of 500 by a min-max build. But 400 out of 500 might take the concentration value down to like 50 per craft. Then all of a sudden your 1000 concentration goes a lot further. And you know what this does? If we are in a position where we only produce high quality things with concentration, your mathematical averages when it comes to things like resourcefulness and multicraft basically go out the window. Because you will never be able to craft them in bulk sufficient enough to work towards that average. It kind of forces you into basically considering the value of crafting something to be based on the items. And it forces you to have to sort of basically treat resourcefulness and multicraft as bonuses, not so much baked into the cost of everything. Because if there is that permanent limitation to how many of a thing you can produce, if you can't get to the point where you can craft 10,000 potions, then you can't reliably rely on mathematical averages. So, I like I said, a lot of this is theory right now, but it's a strong impression I'm getting. We won't know for definite, though, until we get cheap vendors, until we can actually start properly playing with these. And I would point out a lot of things like recipe difficulty are probably not balanced yet. Materials are not balanced yet, never mind things like recipe difficulties. This was something that was done late in the day for the War Within as well. but it's a top level theory. You know, what we're trying to find out here is what was the design philosophy for Blizzard or Professions in Midnight. Is the design philosophy that they only want high quality stuff used with concentration? Is that like, you know, a bullet point on the design goals for the Professions? They probably won't come out and tell us this sort of stuff, though. This is why we have to try and find out ourselves. Do you think it's a good direction not to be able to guarantee max quality items? Either way, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter because the market will adapt to it. And there are lots of variables with this. One distinct variable being the actual raw materials. If raw materials are difficult to get at high quality, and you can then only use concentration to guarantee high quality stuff, if both of those two statements are true, then it does lead to a scenario where high quality end products could end up being really expensive. But there's always a balance to this. There's a balance where if the end result item is too expensive, people just don't buy it. Flasks. This is probably not going to be super relevant to too many people, but flasks at the beginning of the War Within. Quality 3 flasks were ludicrously expensive at the beginning in Season 1. Season 1 War Within, Quality 3 flasks were mental price. They were like easy 2,000 gold plus for a single flask. Whereas a Quality 2 flask was like 300, 400 gold. This actually meant that the amount of people that were willing to pay the premium for the top quality stuff was a lot less. A lot less. So the market will sort itself out. This is the advantage of World of Warcraft being a relatively free and open market, that it will balance itself. It doesn't really make a huge difference overall. If something ends up being far too expensive to craft, people won't buy it. If people don't end up buying it, less people will end up crafting it. It doesn't really matter. It's not a big deal either way. It's a frustration though if you play with your professions and you level your professions in order to try and achieve something that then ends up being not very wanted by the player base. That's a frustration, especially when we have things like specializations to deal with, which sort of dictate that you have to choose a direction before knowing if it's a good direction or not to choose. So that can be a touch of frustration, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. It's a good direction for gold makers. Yeah. As people who like to play with the professions early on in the expansion, if people are willing to spend their time tinkering with this sort of stuff, because you got to remember, the reason why everything is super expensive in Season 1 is because everybody wants to go out and do stuff that's not professions. Absolutely everybody. Like, you look at the amount of distractions you have at the beginning of an expansion. You've got 4 new zones usually to contest with, a bunch of reputations that come along with them. You have your characters and all of your alts to potentially level up. You have a whole suite of new dungeons and raids and delves now on top of that to explore. There is so many distractions from so many different avenues. The vast majority of players do not want to spend their time focused on professions, which is why the handful of people who do want to spend their time focusing on the professions at the cost of going out and doing a lot of that other stuff, they then have the ability to do things first, charge a higher price for things. This is why professions are more valuable at the beginning of the expansion. If you put effort into them at the beginning, the reward of that is that there is less people doing it, meaning that prices tend to be higher, competition tends to be lower. There is just, day one of an expansion, no materials exist. Yeah, this is one thing we see very much in Season 1. The fact that actually the supply of materials dictates a lot of this. Because think how many people want to play with the professions. There's even less people that want to spend their time in the first week or two of an expansion flying around picking up herbs. Most people don't want to do it, which means the people that do it are the ones that get the premium for going and doing it. That flask potion item ends up on a WoW head BIS list. People will buy it no matter how expensive it is. Yes, but you can't use that as a general rule. Because everybody has a price. Everybody has a price. Yes, any like an optional, you know, like your embellishments and stuff. Yes, if it ends up on a BIS list, people will still buy it. But I can tell you firsthand from many patches worth of experience with this, everybody has a price. If Primal Spore Binding ends up on a bunch of BIS lists, yes, there'll be people that will pay whatever the cost to get the high quality ones. But I can still tell you for a fact that you'll still sell 20 times as many the basic ones, because most people, when it comes to it, are cheap. And in more recent years, every single piece of gold you have has a real money value attached to it for some players. The vast majority of people that have less than a token's worth of gold have less than a token's worth of gold because they end up buying tokens to get their gold, because they don't do anything in the game that generates them enough gold. Raid loggers famously go kill raid bosses and then buy tokens to cover the cost of all of their consumables and flasks and the likes. That means somebody is then saying, right, 400,000 gold is $20. That means if I spend 10,000 gold on something, it has a real world value of this. If somebody gets the option, if somebody has to spend 5,000 gold on a high quality item and has the option of buying the normal quality one for 500 gold, you'd be amazed how many people will just buy the 500 gold one because they're cheap. They don't see enough value in the higher quality stuff. So your point isn't incorrect, but there is nuance to it. That yes, if it's on a BIS list, people will buy it, but that doesn't necessarily that rule does not apply to everybody, not in the slightest. I think it'll push more people into the professions. More casual Andes who can't afford to be buying the best flask for 10k gold would rather than craft it themselves. This is exactly what concentration was meant to do, wasn't it? It's exactly what concentration was added in for. The only problem is it took the entirety of the War Within for people to even realise that concentration existed. Never mind understand just what an advantage it was to use it. Somebody that was even slightly proactive with their professions could have their professions very modestly set up and could be completely self-sufficient when it came to flasks, enchants, gems, the whole lot. Very easily self-sufficient in all quality 3 stuff very easily. It's a transition time though, isn't it? I've seen this many times over. It takes an entire expansion for people to realize a thing is even in the game. And so concentration being a thing, I mean, I was saying from day one, it's literally this is your ability to not have to worry about leveling anything. If you're casual and you don't want to compete with the goblins who are like min-maxing everything with professions, it doesn't matter. You can come along, and if you need some drums to go raiding, for example, you can, or you need an armor kit for whatever reason, right? You need to put an armor kit. Wowhead BIS list tells you need Blood Knight's armor kit. Right, you go and look at the cost of a Blood Knight's armor kit and you see a high quality one of these is 5,000 gold. You think, I don't want to spend 5,000 gold. My alt dude over here is got leatherworking. Hang on, have I got the recipe? Oh, I have got the recipe. Oh, I can just put some quality 1 materials in here and I can hit concentration and bang, there's my high quality armor kit. This, in theory, has been in the game since the launch of the War Within, but the reality is that most people don't even know, you know, most people still had that sour taste in their mouth from professions in Dragonflight, which were arguably the most difficult to get to grips with because A, the entire system was brand new, and B, everybody just very quickly came to the conclusion it was far too much hard work to deal with. And so, you know, a subtle bit of simplification, making the materials a little bit easier to handle, will allow anybody to turn up. If I get this recipe, I can buy some basic materials off the auction house, hit my concentration button, and craft myself my high quality Blood Knight's armor, you know, or whatever. That, I think, is probably, you know, the theory, at least, from Blizzard's perspective. It's also why I am still very, very 50-50. I'm very 50-50 on how useful concentration is going to be. And it rides on a couple of factors. If high quality materials are just like candy, they're super easy to get. If herbalism, mining, skinning ends up being very easy to acquire high quality materials and very easy to acquire them in bulk as well, then the likelihood is that a lot of the crafted stuff, if there's no difference in price between, if high quality stuff doesn't come with a premium, there's no saving to be made by using concentration, regardless of how much of it you need to use. That's fundamental number one for me. If high quality materials and intermediates are easy to come by, concentration doesn't really have the ability to add much value, because everybody will just use the high quality ones if there's not much of a difference anyway. And on scenarios like this, for example, I know I was talking about a Blood Knight armor kit being, you know, you got to remember petrified root, no quality. Silverleaf thread, vendor reagent. Motes of light, no quality. The only items here that have quality attached to them, there is 3 items here that have quality attached to them. An infused scale woven hide. Let's say there's 100 gold difference between a normal quality and a high quality one of these. Well, there's 100 gold. Let's say the same for this. 3 materials, 300 gold. Using quality 2 instead of using quality 3 might only give 300 gold worth of value to how much concentration you use. If it takes you 500 concentration to make something, 500 concentration to save 300 gold, you're not going to do it. It doesn't have any it then doesn't have any value. It's all a big balancing act. A balancing act that I hope they get right. I hope they get it right. The problem for me is every time they change the system, each expansion, they have to then go back to basics when it comes to balancing all this shit. And leatherworking is the best example of the fact that they got it just completely wrong. They got it so wrong in The War Within. I don't know. I genuinely don't know what they were thinking with leatherworking in The War Within, but they made all of the... It's a good case study to show that when you make the intermediates really easy to make, the high quality stuff loses all of its value completely. You've got quality 1, 2, and 3 basic leather costing exactly the same in The War Within. Because it doesn't matter what quality you use when crafting something, because making high quality stuff with leatherworking was for some reason way easier than it was with any other profession. So much so, in fact, that you were better off in most cases using quality 2 stuff to make high quality things, to actually say it was just weird. It was odd. The list of stuff leatherworkers makes, though, is actually ridiculous. Look at the amount of recipes there are. Armor kits again. Huge amounts of leather armor. Huge amounts of mail armor. Then you've got the 2 PvP sets for each respective And then look at that big old list of profession equipment. It's literally the entire screen length of profession gear. This is because we now have 3 different levels of profession gear. Uncommon, rare, and epic. Can you buy profession mats already, or do you need to farm them to test? Yeah, there's no, to my understanding, there's no cheat vendors yet. Cheat vendors will probably turn up in the beta. Which is why a lot of what I talk about with professions at the moment is kind of like more theory focused. Because until we have cheat vendors to actually like play with them properly. The phrase I've used is the professions are in like a look but don't touch kind of mode right now. You can poke around and see what's going on with some of them, but without easy access to the materials, you can't really play with them to see how they feel or test things out properly. From a business point of view, do you think the high quality mats will be rare, so things are more expensive, so see people want to buy more tokens for gold? That's often an assumption that people make, but I never really think that it holds much weight. And it's because Blizzard don't control any of that. Blizzard's ecosystem and Blizzard's economy is a hands-off economy. Everything within it is player-driven. If things are rare, they end up costing more. But if they end up costing too much, people don't buy them. If people don't buy them, guess what happens to them? They get cheaper. It's the supply and demand thing, right? You will often find at the beginning of an expansion, you'll get those players that complain everything is too expensive, and they blame it on goblins being greedy and trying to make all of the gold. It's not really the case. It's just the fact that ultimately it always ends up being a supply and demand issue. Why is shit expensive in Season 1? It's expensive because nobody wants to play with the professions. And those that do get the luxury of prices being higher to make it worthwhile them not raiding, not doing their delves, not doing any other new interesting aspect of the game, but instead choosing to spend their time picking up herbs or crafting potions, right? Hence why then, at the very end of an expansion, everything is super cheap. Because by that point, everybody has done all of the cool, interesting things that are higher on people's priority lists. Look at how many people towards the end of an expansion go, I'm going to make some gold now. Why are they doing it now? Why didn't they do it at the beginning? Well, they didn't do it at the beginning because gold making isn't a high priority for them. Doing the dungeons, the raids, all of this sort of stuff is higher priority for those players. And so they don't do it then. It's a lower priority thing. And so once those people have done all of that stuff, then they're like, oh, you know what? I'll level my professions now. What's the best way to make gold at the end of Season 3 in an expansion? And then people are surprised why there's no gold to be made and everything. But it's all been done, mate. It's all been done. It's over. It's finished. This is... And this is because Blizzard doesn't touch any of this, right? It's all completely controlled by the player base themselves. Blizzard controls only a very small aspect of the economy in the game. They control roughly how many materials... Well, they obviously make the recipes, right? So they dictate how many materials are consumed in the chain. They dictate that, and they also have a little bit of control over how many of those materials can be generated by players. So they have a bit of control on the input, but then everything that happens in the middle is completely up to the players to do themselves. And then at the end, all they do is they make sure that, you know, they have a little bit of control over making sure that you can't take... Or at least they have done this in the last few years. They make it so that you can't sell this item to a vendor for more than it costs you to craft, for example. They don't want... Vendor shuffles are something that existed for a few expansions, but Blizzard was very, very, very quick to... Just like they're very quick to nerf farms that get out of hand, that's one aspect of the game that they do have a sense of control over. If a farm gets out of hand, they nerf the farm, and they do it super fast. Why? Because that's one of the only things that they control. They want to control the supply of materials into the ecosystem. Whatever players do with them and whatever players charge for them. The way the auction house works is it's a player's prerogative when they sell something to sell it for the highest price they can sell it for. That means if there's not many of them and there's lots of people that want them, the price ends up being quite high. But it's also why, at the end of an expansion, when everybody is trying to sell everything and nobody really wants to buy it, everything gets omega cheap. Blizzard's not touching any of this. They're not touching any of this at all. So Blizzard doesn't really care too much whether things get expensive. Things that get expensive in the game are only expensive because apparently everybody wants them. I have no belief it's got any business related interest for them to try and sell more tokens. It's just, you know, natural byproduct of a hands-off player driven economy. I can't actually look at the spec trees without using like Wowhead or something for leatherworking, because you got to get to 25 skill before you can unlock the damn things. And skinning wasn't actually very fruitful when I did my testing, if I remember, meaning I don't even have any leather really to level things up. I think I was really struggling to acquire the scales, I think. I was getting lots of leather, but I couldn't find mobs that reliably gave me the scales. So we might have to wait to look at that in a bit more detail. But there's absolutely loads of stuff to craft as a leatherworker again. And of course, decor related stuff. Leather bed. Bought with Moxie. Interesting. Still get XP for first time crafts. I don't know. Do we get any XP? Oh, I need a jeweler's bench. Do we get any XP for first time craft? No. No experience for a first time craft. There's your answer. 10 Moxie. Knowledge point, but no experience. Okay, let's have a little poke around with some of the others. Let's pick a profession I didn't really take too much of a deep dive into. Enchanting is going to be a good one. Enchanting would be a good one to do a little bit of napkin math on. What do you think the market for housing decor is going to be like based on what you've seen so far? Gut feeling is telling me that there's not much gold to be made, but I could be wrong. Anything that is new is always an oh dear. Anything that's new is an absolute gold mine. It always is. Any like new professions in Dragonflight very quickly a gold mine. Concentration added in the War Within, absolute fucking gold mine. Every time they add whatever the new thing is, there's always loads of gold around it. Delve mats, season 1, the War Within, absolute gold mine. Anything that's new always has loads of opportunity for gold making attached to it. For the reasons I was talking about a minute ago, that most people want, You know, most people want to play with the new thing. Playing with the new thing causes an absolute mass amount of demand for it. That huge amount of demand for it, whilst probably never outstrips the supply, it does still dictate that there will be some good profit margins in anything that goes near it. But yeah, I think there'll be plenty of gold to be made in housing. It is... Crafting decor, though, is a bit of a distraction, I think. Because it, you know, at face value, it's like, oh, it's crafting. I use my crafting professions. But fundamentally, it's farming. But farmers always win. Farmers always win. Anytime there is something new, the people who are willing to go out and farm the materials and sell them to somebody else make a premium. Because everybody wants those materials for themselves. But there's also a lot of people that want them, and they want them now, and they don't want to spend the time going and getting them themselves. So they pay the premium to the person that has already gone and done it. It's all an exchange of time. And so when something is new, yes, there will be plenty of gold to be made in it for sure. Exactly how you extract that gold into your own back pocket is probably, you know... that's what separates your average wannabe gold maker from your absolute mega goblin. There'll be, you know, the ways you go about doing it. There'll be some people that will happily spend a few hours a day going out farming lumber, and they'll take that lumber and they'll craft a few pieces of decor with whichever profession they have access to on that character, and they'll sell a few pieces of decor every day, and they'll make a few thousand gold and they'll be happy about it. There will also then be some people that will, you know, they will take those crafted items that people have made, spending a few hours farming the lumber, and they will buy them all up, and then they'll distribute them across all of the lower population servers, or servers which do not have that certain piece of decor listed. Those players will probably sell 10 times as much of actual decor items every day, but they're only getting a small flipping margin each and every time. But there's no denying people will want decor stuff. But, as we said earlier, if all of the decor items end up being ludicrously expensive, because everybody jacks up the price of all of the materials all of a sudden, then there'll be some people that go to the auction house and they see 25,000 gold for bookshelf, and they go, fuck that, that's too much for me. Either they'll go and farm up the materials and level the profession to make that bookcase themselves, or they just won't bother. Everybody has a price. This dude has blacksmithing. Somebody was asking the question earlier about do blacksmiths still repair their own gear? Flipping hell. It's another one that I can't really see until I actually flipping level the thing up a bit. Repair hammers. I don't know whether it will be such that blacksmiths get these, in essence, for free when you fully spec out a tree. It might be. If in other MMOs are any indication, crafted decor falls flat pretty quickly, but they've never had a limited resource like wood. Yeah, it depends. It depends. Like I said, though, anytime there is something new, there's always loads of money to be made from it. But it's how long that lasts. But I do genuinely think that decor will fall into the same category as pets, mounts, toys, transmog. You know, these are collectible items. There's even people out there that won't be that bothered about making a big fancy house. But what they will do is, for the purpose of all the things, want to make sure that they have at least one of every decor item available. And if that means buying a whole bunch of crafted decor off the auction house because it's easier than making it themselves, then maybe they will. Other games also do not have the population of WoW. That is also true. As MMOs go, I would imagine even with its not so public numbers these days, I would imagine World of Warcraft still has probably the highest player count of any MMO out there. If I was to assume. Blacksmithing is still making ingots out of basic materials with vendor reagents. Those reagents then go into making higher tier alloys, much like our core. They call them core alloys or core ingots in the War Within. Go into sterling and glooming alloys, using either brilliant silver ore or umbral tin ore. These of which then go into the production of further things, which we can't really see yet because the recipes haven't been added. This comes in a week or two's time on the alpha. But the fact that these link to these is an indication that they are part of this. We just can't see it all yet because it's not finished. I vaguely remember one of these alloys being far more useful than the other. These ones that are then only in the PvP stuff. Yeah, gloaming alloys going predominantly into the PvP gear by the looks of things, whereas the other alloy, dazzling alloy, might go into the PvE gear, meaning you might see a much higher ask and demand on the sterling alloys than you do the glooming alloys. Gloaming, I don't know how you pronounce that. I assume it's gloaming. Do you have any thoughts about the pet prices, given no new pet battle content? There was only a small slither of pets that really had much of a premium attached to them because they were good within pet battle content, in my opinion. But it's always hard to tell. Like, you never know why somebody buys a pet off you. Were they buying it off you because they just wanted +1 to their collection number? Were they buying it off you because they were then going to level it up for pet battle content? Were they buying it because there was a family battler achievement that they were trying to complete? Did they buy it because it just looks cute and they want it to follow their character around? These are all things you never really know. I'm not overly convinced that pet prices will change dramatically. If there's even, I mean, considering just how little focus has been on pet battle and pet battle content over the last few expansions anyway, I can't see there being a huge dramatic difference if they do less in the next expansion. It's a collector's item. People are still going to want to collect, you know, it's the Pokemon theory, isn't it? People still got to catch them all. That means rarer, more difficult ones to acquire will still hold a higher value to people. I don't think there's much to worry about. Now, obviously, if you're somebody that's got 50 million gold worth of pets that you're selling on 50 different realms every day, you might be able to put a little bit more data to that theory, but I don't think there's much of a worry. Yeah, they're still going to be a collector's item. Now, I'm going to throw out a big stereotype here. A big stereotype, but the fact that pets, collecting of pets and pet battles and using them as companions and stuff is far more a casual aspect of the game. With housing being a big added feature, which is very much focused towards a more casual of an audience, housing is definitely not predominantly selling itself to high-end mythic raiders. It's not to say a high-end Mythic Raider might not like to tinker with their house, but it's very much focused on somebody that will happily sit there on a Sunday afternoon and just tinker with redecorating a bedroom. Pet-related content is always, you know, sat in that category far more so, which if there's a big influx of the more casual player base, who knows? There's even room for, you know, there to be more interest in pets just because of an increase in the amount of players that are driven towards that kind of content. Emotionally, I feel that sales have slowed, but it could also be because I've been busy IRL. I mean, we're also, yes, and remix, and end of expansion. Like, these are all aspects that WoW probably has a small of a player base right now as it has at any point in the War Within, I'd imagine. Which will have an effect. There's not actually a huge amount I can look at with blacksmithing, really, because 90% of it we can't even see properly because A, I can't get into the spec trees without leveling the damn thing or using a third-party website like Wowhead. Wowhead has all of the... Wowhead has data mined them all, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they've been updated if any changes have been made or are solely reliable on. First place. Professions. Profession tree calculator, maybe? That's for the War Within. Beta. Midnight profession trees, blacksmithing. I've lost blacksmithing. Crafting the old ways, armor smithing, weaponsmithing. Well, this looks very standardized. Get good at making alloys. Multi-craft node, resourcefulness node, ingenuity node. So, based upon the fact that ever-burning ignition is gone, they have basically just built in alloy crafting and ever-burning ignition into one tree. You then have craft smithing, which will allow you to be better at making profession tools and profession accessories, and better at making the stones. And then you've got get good at making armor and get good at making weapons. A little bit more straightforward. These could both have easily have been one tree if they really wanted to, but clearly they still wanted 4 spec trees. Plus 4 skill when crafting alloys per point in this. If 4 times 20 is 80, plus however many points you get in here. Oh, no. Points in this will only give you multi-craft ingenuity and resourcefulness. Doesn't even give you flat skill on crafting a thing. That's maybe why you get so many skill for each point here. 80 points in here. 90, 100, 110, 120. There's 120 skill you can get from your spec tree when crafting alloys. So there might only be 120 skill to be obtained, because all of the others are giving you points towards something else. There isn't that one generic plus skill on everything node. It's whenever you gain plus skill, it's when crafting X, not a generic one. When crafting weapons, whetstones, and weight stones. So 120 points maybe from the spec tree. See if we can just do some napkin math again on this. High quality copper ore will give you, let's say 160. 260. 300. Okay. You might be able to guarantee high quality copper ingots here. But then how does that play out when we then try and upscale those into here? Where the recipe difficulty is 400 here again. Okay, so this is where some of the professions are, you know, there's potentially different information to be extracted from here. It looks like alloys are something that you could potentially look to mass produce at top quality. If you can mass produce copper ingots at top quality without concentration, and then you slap on some high quality silver ore, you should then have enough points here, and skill in the spec tree to be able to reach this threshold. So it's still a big question mark to what the design intent is. Is the design intent to allow you to mass produce everything if you try hard enough? Or is the design intent to force the use of concentration for every high quality craft? Still don't know. Okay, what about enchanting? Oh, we still don't have maps. Still don't have a proper map. I wish we could make crafting tables. Yeah, I'm personally, I never have been a fan of crafting tables. I don't like that it locks you into one specific location to craft stuff. And it is one of the things that I think it would be nice if Decor allowed you to put a profession table in your player housing. Because yeah, I don't know. Blizzard were very clear about they don't want player housing to become Garrisons 2.0. They don't want you to have all the functionality you ever need in your player house, so much so that you never need to leave it. If there's something that makes sense, like having access to a mailbox, then they will allow that, but I still kind of weirdly think that crafting tables are going to be locked to the capital city, rather than having access to them in your player house. Yeah, both alchemy and engineering have like portable tables, and I wonder if they did that for alchemy and engineering because it's two sort of very utility focused professions, right? You might be out and about or even in a raid or something and you want to craft some jumper cables or you want to craft some potions or something, and going back to the capital city for those is kind of a bit of an annoyance. Whereas things like, oh, if I need to craft an enchant, or I need to craft a gem, or I need to craft an armor kit, or a consumer, like something like that, that's an item optimization sort of item. It's less then you got to go back to the city to make it, kind of thing. I don't know. I wonder if they've thought about that sort of stuff. But I genuinely don't really like the tables. I don't understand what this one. If I'm spending so much time increasing my skill, what is there on this table that's so important that I can't do it somewhere else? It's just. I know it's designed to keep as many people as possible in one main hub, but it doesn't mean I like it. Master your general disenchanting skill and gaining +1 skill point per point in this spec when disenchanting midnight equipment. Subspec. 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 +20 skill when disenchanting uncommon midnight equipment. I'm going to assume, without being able to test it, that they've basically copy-pasted the disenchanting system from the War Within into Midnight. Meaning, I also still feel that it will probably share the similar disenchanting rates. Until proven otherwise, I'm going to assume it's the same as the War Within. Meaning you're going to be relatively... There's going to be a relatively even distribution. What's the ratio for disenchanting right now in the War Within? Is it like 2-2-1? 2 quality 1s, 2 quality 2s to every 1 quality 3 item you pull out, roughly? Or is it more even, like 1-1-1 distribution? Because my assumption is they'll probably just copy paste the entire thing. I don't think unless they need to change it, they will change it. It looks like you still have to specialize into disenchanting certain things. You have a chance to create more ever-singing dust when disenchanting midnight equipment. Uncommon midnight equipment. Your chances of creating additional ever-singing dust when disenchanting uncommon midnight equipment is increased. There's nothing overtly special or surprising in any of this. Your disenchanting formula for rare items gains new efficiencies and has a chance to leave behind additional materials on the item you disenchant. Is that somewhat similar? Are we to assume that disenchanting those will then give you access to the moats that went into making the item in the first place, maybe? Considering flipping everything uses moats to craft. If you're looking at breaking down some basic doo-doo level something or other, maybe you're making basic leveling. What was it we were disenchanting for the most part? Like dum-dum level blacksmith hammers. 6 copper ingots. 1 core alloy is clearly not right. What would be the blacksmith disenchant item of choice? Whatever uses the least amount of copper ingots. Dawn forged ritual knife. That's a way to get shards. You disenchant those to get shards. What would be the way that you get dust? Hello? Do we not... Blacksmiths not make any green quality gear? They don't make any green quality gear? Where the fucking hell does dust come from if there's no green quality gear? It'll be these things, won't it? Blacksmith hammers. Whichever the cheapest one of these is. 5, 5, 6, 5, 6. Well, it's clear as day then. Blacksmithing isn't going to be something that you disenchant en masse. It'll probably be something that comes from tailoring or leatherworking then in that case. Blacksmith hammers were only a thing in The War Within because they used like 1 core alloy or something, which made them super cheap. But yeah, disenchanting uncommon, is that similar? No, when disenchanting uncommon stuff, when trying to disenchant stuff to get dust, you will seemingly only ever get dust. But if you disenchant to get shards, you will then get other materials. Whether it's clever enough to be materials that came from the original item in the first place, or whether it's just like, you may get a random something. We'll have to see. And then when disenchanting epics, you have a chance to extract some of Midnight's native magical essences when disenchanting epic Midnight equipment, also known as you will get motes. You will get motes when you disenchant epics. Your disenchanting formulas are fully attuned, increasing your chances of extracting Midnight's native magical essences when disenchanting epic equipment. So it still looks like those who are willing to stand and just press a button for hours on end will have lots of opportunities to make gold with disenchanting early on. No surprises there, really. Specialize in shattering the magical essences of Midnight, gleaning fleeting but increasingly potent crafting bonuses from the magic within. Your studies will also benefit your concentration. Learn to shatter essences. Learn to shatter magical essences native to Midnight areas, temporarily empowering your resourcefulness, multicraft, ingenuity. You'll also gain +1 ingenuity per point in this spec for a short time when shattering an essence. Increasing the resource gain from shattering an essence. Increasing the ingenuity and increasing the multicraft. But is shattering not a shatter essence? Shatter essence is a thing to break down your motes. But is there not a shard shatter again? Are they going to make the same mistake again? Are they going to make the same mistake again and not add that for launch and then have to hotfix it in later? Because there'll be an absolute wild shortage of dust again. When everything uses huge amounts of dust. Is history going to repeat itself here? It very might do. Very well might do. They need some way to shatter shards into dust, which isn't there again. That would be so funny if they do that again. Oh shit, dust is 3 times the price of shards because there's not that much uncommon gear and everybody needs 3 times as much dust as they need shards. Why can't we shatter shards, Blizzard? We could also be in another situation where fuck knows where dawn crystals come from at the beginning of the expansion. going to very, very heavily be weighted on inscription again, isn't it? What does inscription do with Dark Moon cards? Are they going to be basically free and disenchant fodder? Or are they going to be rarest rocking horse doo-doo because they actually want to do something proper with Dark Moon cards again? If they do something proper with Dark Moon cards again, then I ain't got no clue where your Dawn Crystals are coming from. Not at any sensible rate, anyway. We don't want 100k weapon enchants again, though, do we, really? I mean, it could be funny, but... Let me grab a drink. Moving into up some healers again. Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit earlier. I don't play high-end content anywhere near enough to know the greatest of impact of that. I also sort of pointed out that everybody is reacting to healers having their interrupts removed based on today's understanding of how the game plays and how the game feels. Midnight does seem to be a bit of a transitional shift into a new style of gameplay, maybe where the mechanics are lesser but more important. And if they are lesser, maybe everybody doesn't need an interrupt. Maybe interrupting can be passed on to the responsibility of DPS or something. Maybe in Mythic Plus you won't need every single person to have an interrupt and to have an interrupt rotation. Meaning healers may not necessarily need to be responsible for another thing. I can see the argument from both sides there. Yeah, resourcefulness procs on crystals if high quality crystals end up being flipping. Because you've also got to remember, if Dawn Crystals in any way, shape or form are hard to come by at the beginning of the expansion, because nobody's disenchanting epic gear, you also need to add on to the fact that even the people who are disenchanting epic gear to get crystals, they're also not going to get high quality crystals unless they have also spec'd in exactly this direction, which will only be a fraction of the enchanters full stop, which could very much mean that if there is not many Dawn Crystals knocking about, the amount of high quality Dawn Crystals, none. Absolutely none whatsoever. There's your concentration usage. Well, that does add fuel to using quality 1 crystals and concentration, yes. For sure. If there's a, if a Dawn Crystal at normal quality Dawn Crystal's 5,000 gold, and then a high quality one ends up being 20,000 gold, there's a 15,000 gold saving there. That's where you use quality 1 these and you bang the concentration button. That whole concept is heavily weighted. Heavily weighted on just how many epics are knocking about at the beginning. Obviously, we all know how it played out in the War Within. Is that everybody, you just disenchant Dark Moon trinkets because they were 10 a penny. But if they try and do something more involved with Dark Moon cards, which it actually looks like they are, by the way. If we try and jump on the scribe without the game having a hissy fit, it does look like they're trying to do something more involved with Dark Moon cards this time round. Which, if that's the case, then there probably will not be a very strong, very heavy, permanent supply of epics for disenchanting. Dawn Crystals could go to the moon. It usually lasts up until Season 2, where everybody then starts having a lot of epic stuff to disenchant. And, crafted epic stuff and world drop epic stuff becomes more feasible. If we look at inscription for a minute, where we have Dark Moon stuff, we do have Dark Moon Dominion. We have the trinkets here. We also have sigils as well, which is the optional crafting reagent, the embellished version of that can be attached. Is the same effect but can be attached to another piece of gear. It's still the same system in terms of the fact that you collect the ace through till 8 of a set to make the entire set. But the fact that Dark Moon Curiosity is an entire tree all of itself this time round, and it's a beast of a tree, gives me the illusion, or at least the impression, that they're maybe not going to make Dark Moon trinkets basically vendor price like they have been in the War Within. Why would you go to the degree of making this entire tree specifically for Dark Moon card crafting to then make them worth vendor prices? Nor is there anything in here, or at least there wasn't last time I checked, nor is there anything in here that seems to indicate that scribes get an increased bonus to the amount of Dark Moon cards that drop or anything like that. This is all about getting skill. This is all about being able to transcribe one card type to another. None of this is like, oh, you need to be a scribe to get Dark Moon cards to drop and put points in this to make them drop more frequently. It might mean that Dark Moon cards end up going back to their like rare world drop status that they had been for previous many a year, and in turn being random world drops. There will be a nice cool thing to find if you're out farming 2x4 styly, or if you're like if one drops randomly for you when you're just out playing the game, then it might be worth a couple of thousand gold to you. But if they're not if Dark Moon cards end up not being target farmable and end up being rare, then that really hamstrings the supply of epic gear into the market, which begs the question where the Christ are disenchanting crystals come from. Could be fun. Could be very fun. It is a transition period, but it's an interesting one. In many ways, they're returning to the old pre-Legion concepts, but they also want to keep the difficulty and complexity of the modern encounters. Yeah. I think the concept of less mechanics, but making the mechanics more important is probably a good direction to go in. Most Mythic Plus at the moment seems to be like everything is going to cast something and you have interrupt rotations, but that means everybody has an interrupt so that everybody can deal with the 5 mobs in a pack that are going to cast something. Whereas it would be better off if it's, you know, just one big significant mechanic that is the responsibility of one person, but it's going to nuke the shit out of you if you don't interrupt it, sort of thing. Then everybody doesn't need an interrupt. But yeah, I don't know. Is the PvP gear crafts blue or purple? Well, it starts off uncommon. It depends on which of the. It PvP gear works the same as it does in retail right now, where you have the heraldries. That's the word I'm looking for. You slap an epic heraldry on it, and you'll get a nice chunky piece of gear out of it. But these are not going to be, you know, you're not going to be mass acquiring these. in order to make them disenchant fodder. It's the same issue we have literally at the beginning of every expansion. That where are the epics that people are going to disenchant to get the crystals? We have the same issue every single expansion. Which is why Season 1 weapon enchants are always ludicrously expensive. And it's usually always because of the just sheer lack of crystals. Everybody wants that weapon enchant, but there's only so many crystals to make them, so guess what? They're fucking expensive. He who pays the highest price wins. Everybody else has to wait or accept the low quality one. Is there anything in here that stands out as something that might be disenchantable? Or even still, is there going to be something that... This is all the spark gear, by the way. We got candidates for shard crafting. None of it's uncommon, though. None of the basic gear is uncommon. It's all rare, which means it'll all disenchant into shards, not dust. Where's our dust coming from? Is it going to be low level profession gear again? Two pieces. It takes dust to make the damn thing. Well, that's interesting. It's not going to be profession. You're not going to be disenchanting profession accessories if it takes dust to make the damn things. If you put 2 dust in, you're going to need at least 3 dust out to make it even considerable. These imbued bright linen bolts, surely these are going to take dust as well, right? Or maybe they don't know. Bright linen bolt uses just the bright linen. Okay, so there's no dust that goes into making the imbued bright linen bolts. Want to buy all greens, 1k cod any amount? Yeah, get the macros ready. Get the macros ready. Everybody's cheap, often vended, can't be bothered to put it on the auction house. Greens. Harvesting low-level servers for all of their undervalued greens just to disenchant them to get dust. Oh, God. We're going to have a dust shortage on our hands again. We're going to have a dust shortage on our hands. Because PvP gear, fucking 4 motes, you're not going to be disenchanting this shit. This is going to be too expensive in the first place. Anything that has motes attached to it, it's going to be too expensive to be disenchant fodder. You need something cheap, mass producible. I mean, your chef sats is looking... Well, okay. The fact that all of these use exactly the same amount of reagents right now tells me that this hasn't been balanced out yet, but you're certainly not using green profession gear from tailoring to disenchant. The fact that it takes dust to make the damn things in the first place. So there doesn't look like a strong candidate for dust disenchanting anywhere, because all the leveling gear is then shards. If enchanters don't have the ability to shatter shards, then... Okay. What about... Let's check leatherworking. We kind of decided that blacksmithing doesn't really have many candidates for disenchanting stuff, so it's up to leatherworkers here. Does leatherworking have anything that looks like it might end up being cheap enough to disenchant? It's so funny how they seem to have an issue, then have to hotfix that issue. But they don't learn from it, because it looks like they might have just copy-pasted the same issue again. Where the f does dust come from? All the basic leveling gear is uncommon. Sorry, rare. Meaning it's all shards. So you're not mass producing pieces of gear. Low level PvP gear will still require green heraldries, which if these, but 40, 56, there's just too many materials that go into this for these to be candidates for disenchanting for dust, unless dust ends up being ludicrously expensive. Fashion equipment, where's the basic shit here? 60 pieces of leather. 60 pieces of leather and 10 vendor mats. $40, 20 of each, 70, 60. Apprentice smithing aprons don't use any basic leather. They only use one void tempered hide. Usual braces. All of the leveling gear is all uncommon, so it will shard. You'll get shards from it. You won't get dust, and there's no shattering of shards down to dust, at least in current build. So this is my thoughts. They're repeating the same issue we had at the beginning of the War Within, where there was no way to get dust, so dust was really expensive. Until they added the shatter in to take all of those shards that were lying around that weren't being used, which could be mass produced. No thaumaturgy either. Yeah, with no thaumaturgy either, there's going to be even less dust knocking about. At least previously you could, you know, spin some dust through alchemy. Well, it depends just how readily available these things are. Void tempered hides. Void tempered hides become a material for the intermediates here somewhere, don't they? You need a void tempered hide and you need a void tempered plating to make the scale woven hide. Is there going to be an absolute abundance of the quote unquote rare skinning mats? I don't know. That's an interesting one to keep an eye on, though. Any serious enchanters going to have to wonder where their dust is coming from. But where's the dust coming from? Where's the crystals coming from? They could be really struggling on all fronts. If dust ends up being stupidly expensive and there's no crystals, flipping hell, we're looking at 100k weapon enchants easy. Easy. Or enchanting concentration has a lot of value once again. Okay. Interesting. Right. I have a decision to make. I probably need to make a brand new character and just let them loose on the alpha and now see what they can do. We have access to the Void Storm now, which is the last zone. But it also simultaneously requires you to be 88 to get, well, it's an 88 to 90 zone. Not having been on the alpha for a couple of weeks, I don't have any high level characters. And also, the character template. Oh dear. The character template option only gives you level 80 characters. So I need to investigate this a little bit more. Do I need to actually now properly level up a character on the alpha just to test alpha stuff? Is that where we're at? I mean, I don't mind doing that. It's just 10 hours of playing the game that I wasn't expecting to do just to get to the point where we can test the zone we're meant to be testing this week. I thought they did 88 or 90 templates too now. Well, I made one earlier, but it only gave me a level 80. The template characters, the midnight level up character, it just gave me a level 80. Yeah, it just gave me a level 80. So the meta would be enchanting concentration alt army on each realm whilst buying up the cheap greens and simultaneously selling flipped decor and hoarding the region-wide shards waiting for a hot fix for the shatter. In the nutshell, the real meta is the real friends we made on trade chat whilst doing the disenchanting. Or you go the Goldson approach and just disenchant on 4 screens simultaneously and just make yourself dizzy. Yeah, I thought it's probably worth checking that the other realms don't have like they might have just designated this is the realm for like end game. No, level 80 again. Character copy is also not in. Oh shit, that's the same realm again. Don't press cancel, it'll disconnect. I just need to ask Dan, is he lurking? Is he lurking? Is he alive? If I DM'd him, would he be alive? I think he lurks on YouTube as well. Okay. We might need to just start leveling a character. Let me check the notes. Let me check the notes for the... That's not the one. That's the wrong window. Let me check the notes for... No, that's the alpha stuff. Alpha... Dev notes. Flipping out. Right, 11 hours ago. Alpha Week 4 is available for testing. Encourage players to make a new template character and avoid using their previous characters as they could potentially be in a broken state. This is what I always like to do. Yeah, level 88 character template. Why don't I have an 88 character template? Well, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. The level up campaign and the local stories in the Void Storm. Housing has been disabled whilst we work on addressing a few issues. We'll update the post once it's been re-enabled. I was like, I can't even poke around with housing just yet either. Dungeons we can test, some delves we can test, and then there's all the class sets for clever people to break down. Those clever people are not me people. Have they given Wild Thrash... Have they made Wild Thrash less shit? Now charges to your target and delays the spell cast until the pet reaches its target. That's better. There was nothing worse than your pet being in fucking Africa and just thrashing air. When I certainly wouldn't trade that in for multi-shot. Still. But at least that's feedback being taken into consideration. My characters are unavailable for transfer from Remix. It's because the full realm need to be on the realm that you're transferring to. Oh yeah, because your Remix characters are actually on a realm, aren't they? So if you realm hop for the purpose of buying or selling or flipping or doing whatever, yeah, you'll need to actually be on the realm that you're transferring the character to, or it'll work. Class changes, all the class changes. Warriors, that's usually the last one on the list. Right. Oh. Dev notes, this week's deploy has a known issue with how items are generated. Currently they are generating at a lower item level than intended. This means that items from quests and other sources will be a lower item level than intended. Oof, that's going to make leveling from 88 to 90 and actually testing 90 gameplay. That's going to make that quite a challenge. If you're weaker than you probably should be. Okay. At least 88 88s should be makeable. But the fact that they're not is annoying. What if we just don't use this and just do create character? There's not any random option in here, is there, for me to... Random button don't work. Hang on. Oh. No. Okay. That makes testing the new zone basically impossible for me without leveling a character up there first to do so. Which I'm not going to do so. Okay. That's put a bit of a stumbling block on it for me. I was kind of hoping we could go and have a bit of a poke around the void zone. I might need to look into this in a bit more detail. Guess you have to check out housing then. Housing that's also switched off on the alpha. Okay. Well, I guess there's an easy solution to this then, isn't there? The easy solution is I probably end it there for now. We will continue to sort of multitask, I think, a little bit with Remix and the alpha. I might spend a bit of time later today trying to figure out the ins and outs to see if we can actually test some stuff a bit more effectively on the alpha. There's only really 2 weeks of the alpha left. There's this week, this build that has just gone live now, and then next week is where a lot of the end game crafting stuff kicks in. And I'm hoping they'll add cheat vendors at that point as well. So next week, next build that we get on the alpha is actually going to be a big one. So this is why I need to spend a bit of time this week getting my first impressions and first overviews finished. So I might do that this evening. I might record a couple of videos. I might shameless promo. I'll plug the Discord a little bit more. I'll probably be padding out the Discord with a bit more information on Profession stuff. There's the Q&A section for the alpha, if there's anything sort of Profession related you want to ask in there. The 11 p.m. news is like the general chat area for alpha related stuff.
Both, I hope.
These channels are visible, but you can't like comment in. They're private for commenting in, but it's just me being able to like data dump information about the Professions, of which as we get closer to the launch, I will clean up and smarten up so that these can act as like basic little overviews and intros to get up and running with each of the Professions. Once the game goes live, that's my plan, at least, anyway. So yeah, come check out the Discord if you're not there already. Let's see if Streamlabs is even alive today. Hey, Streamlabs is alive. He often doesn't listen on Team YouTube, though. Discord links in the description for Team YouTube, anyway. But boys and girls, I might leave it there for today. Might leave it there now. I'll go get myself some food and then I'll tinker with as much as I can tinker with. Try and get a couple of videos recorded. It's Friday tomorrow, isn't it? It's Friday tomorrow. We'll probably follow a similar schedule. A bit of remix early on, get some raids done maybe, and then jump into the alpha and see what we can get done. I'll try and balance this a little bit. I haven't quite decided exactly how we're going to do it, but I can kind of leave it up to you guys a bit as well. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much for turning up. I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, I'll catch you all next time, boys and girls. Peace.